Welcome, everybody. Welcome back, Susan.
Thank you.
Have a nice time.
Wonderful. We could talk for hours about the places we went to.
Well, we'll call this meeting to order at 7:01, 7:02. Is Stephanie online?
She's attending virtually.
I'm here.
Staff.
Thank you, welcome.
I can't really see anything.
So we'll call it to order and we'll start with signing the bills, which I can do. I'm sorry.
Passing around for us to.
No, you need to research.
No, we've decided early on that,
Oh, you changed it? Oh, okay.
I saw it back in September.
I don't think we made it official. I know we were taxed, but that's fine. Fine.
You're welcome. Approval for the minutes for Wednesday, October 16th.
To approve as presented.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a couple points to make. I wasn't in the Board of Trustees present, it says Mark Marish, Chair, Susan Piccoli, Vice Chair, Secretary, and Costa Pentakis, and it doesn't put that you're treasurer.
Well, soon there will be no need to have a treasurer.
I don't want your title there till it ends.
It doesn't matter to me.
Well, it just should be because she's listed all the other, and then she says others present, so you're on the, right. So you, did you catch that, Steph?
Good catch. If Costa was title.
I don't know if she can.
I got it.
Good, thank you. And then,
Did we make an official motion and a vote?
Yeah.
To elect, I thought, did we? Okay.
Yeah.
yeah,
It should be in the minutes from. Right, we can go back now, but if everyone remembers.
I didn't know we made a note about who was absent. And I didn't know that Annie, who is not on the board, was also to be listed because it doesn't affect the quorum.
True. So that should be removed.
Yeah, and again, down under the Friends, it says Ms. Wilton, who was unable to attend this meeting, so I've never seen that before.
We could just say Elizabeth Johnson presented the Friends report. Like that.
Yeah,
Something to that.
yeah, and I also on the
On
next,
behalf of Annie, it was typed up by Annie, so I do want. that.
okay, on behalf of
You said
Ms.
on
Wilton,
behalf.
absolutely, that's a good idea, then just who was unable, that was, yeah. And then on the next bullet, I just had a question. It said a very generous donation of $10,000 came from a company. Can we know who that company was?
We can, I did check, it was, I wasn't sure.
Oh,
whether they
okay.
wanted to remain anonymous, but it's Adobe,
Oh, Adobe.
Oh, Adobe?
but that, we're not gonna update them next.
No, but that was just a question I had. Okay. Yeah, because I see you're not sure if they want to be kept anonymous, but okay, good, thank you for that. And then when you say in the bottom, you say Ms. Wilton will be joining Ms. Swift Johnson at the Pumpkin Festival. It's a duplicate. You say it again somewhere on the next page. You say it twice. Steph, I don't know where on the second page you say it, but
So it was in the report from Annie, and it was also in the report from the director's report. So that's why it's
Gotcha.
listed twice. So I
Oh.
can take one out, certainly.
yeah, I just don't think we need to,
Well, if it was in both reports,
It
it
was in
should
both
be in
reports.
both places.
um.
Because it's, the minutes are what was actually
Well,
happened.
but usually the minutes are, I don't want to debate it, but I'm just thinking the minutes are generally representation.
But is that
and we
the
don't
first
need-
one noted just as good? I don't know if that was said or not. I didn't remember when I watched it. I don't know. That's
I just think we shouldn't bore people with saying things twice.
Not a big deal.
And then. Are you gonna talk about the IT department's electronic kiosk at this meeting?
That's also in my director's report.
Excellent, excellent. I just highlighted that. Okay, that was just my corrections. That's all I had in questions.
Thank you.
So would you like to make your motion again?
It's already on the table. I'll second the motion, Costa's motion. with
To
the-
accept
As, with the edits.
That's fine.
Allison.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Stephanie, were you clear on the edits that need to be made?
Yeah, I just had a question. The absent, so I'm just taking out Annie, or am I just taking out that whole line for who was absent?
I'm happy with the whole line, actually.
We don't usually put that.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
Either way.
Take out the whole line.
Yeah.
Take out the whole line. Okay, that's fine.
Just note who's present.
Yeah,
Right. I don't
Got it.
remember. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Um,
So we're on to next agenda item, which is the Friends of the Fund report.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome, man.
So as of the 30th of November, our annual campaign for FY 25 is at $11,546.04. And we are currently awaiting two very big donations. We customarily receive funds from the Kirby Foundation, which Loretta is coordinating. And then we also receive a turkey trot donation. As you may know, they did the turkey trot on Thanksgiving Day. I was in charge of contacting them, and they said that it was a couple days before the run, and they said they had a record number of people, and they were it looked really positive and very good, but we just don't. I'm one of those people that until it's in the bank, it's not real. But last year, each of them gave us $3,000, so that would be a huge boost for us.
nice.
And we did a pop-up book sale, on December 5th. Thank you, Mark, so much for joining us and helping
You're
the
very welcome.
whole thing and cleaning up. And Donna Banbury was also a volunteer, as well as myself. Paige coordinated it, and we made $223, which is actually quite good, because we're hoping to do 4 a year. And we customarily bring in about $100 or $800 when we do one at the Pumpkin Festival, so this appears to be working financially for us as well. And we did it just before the holidays, so people could purchase books
Where did the books come from, Annie?
from donations that people give us, as well as some weeding out of the books at this time, right?
Are you collecting more books? Because I happen to have bought some books.
It goes through the staff, they're in charge of that.
Okay,
There were people that brought their books to the book sale. Actually, Paige, I don't recognize some of these books. I didn't put these here. Someone that brought them in.
okay.
It was great. It was really
And it was
nice.
great because they were current, so people
Right.
wanted them.
People used to.
Yeah, I bought 2 new children's books. Yeah.
Mm,
Used to be a great place to bring books.
We
And
read
I
a
just have one more
Talk to the
comment
front
that I
desk.
wanted to mention.
page.
Our Friends meeting is actually this Wednesday, but at our last Friends meeting, we did increase the program budget for the library for FY 26, because they are starting to schedule people for FY 26, because that's how busy, especially very popular people, it fills up very quickly, especially February vacation week, April vacation week, and in the summer. So they're already asked for a budget for FY 26. And we did increase the budget by $3,000, and that's divided equally between children, teens, and adults.
Total 3,000, Annie?
Mhm.
Total, I didn't know if you were saying on top of something, but total 3. Okay.
And that's it. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. I'd also like to comment to thank the public who, while I was standing there, many people paid for their book and left their change. You know, they were really generous with leaving extra, which was really nice and generous of the general public. So thank you to everyone.
Very good.
Can I ask a question of Annie? Is this instead of the big book sale, these
Yes.
4? Yeah, and did you find that this is gonna be easier than trying to coordinate and
The
manage that
main
big one?
reason that we made the change is because when we set up the book sale at the Pumpkin Festival, we take up the meeting room for several days before and a couple of days after. And it was restricting our ability to offer programs there. So
Okay.
we're thinking that this might be a better way, as long as we can advertise it. We're trying it out and it appears to be working
Okay.
better.
And weather was with us this time?
Unfortunately, it wasn't great weather, but
Yeah,
we
that's what I
still
was
did very
concerned.
well.
Yeah, I like it. I like thinking outside the box. Good idea.
There's a lot of families there, and a lot of kids and parents taking their kids to go get their library card. It's really,
Yes, I saw that in the minute. Thank you.
really nice. All right, well, thank you again, and appreciate you all your efforts and the entire Friends of the Flint group, so thank you all. Trustees report. First item is to review policy 22, exhibits and displays policy.
Oh, yeah. That was so long ago.
Do you have that one?
I have it. Thank you.
You need to do it. There's a lot. I think you okay. I have those.
So far, the glasses. Okay.
I mean, because it's the.
Well, the old
versus
new,
the mocked up one. You
Um,
want to. You're gonna have that, you know what I mean?
sure, thank you.
It's the new one. I just got to it, I'm sorry. I'm gonna put them in there.
So did anyone have comments,
Yeah,
suggestions?
well, on number 2. Where it says the library does not accept notices determined to be illegal or inappropriate.
Number 2.
Who decides?
I'm just pulling up the policy, the original documents, so I can edit this as we go through. Okay, so number 2, the library does not accept notices that are determined to be illegal or inappropriate for public viewing in a place that is free. So this would be, illegal would be town council, but inappropriate
You
for
mean
public
free, Costa,
viewing
right?
would be made by me.
Well, I think it needs to specify
Okay.
who determines it, each. On each side, so that it's, somebody knows who's making the decision. Determined to be illegal by town council or inappropriate as determined by the library director.
Okay.
So, and we're
New
talking about
number
number 3 on the newer
The
updated
new
one,
one,
correct?
updated
Well,
one. It's this.
Yeah, that's what's
It was
confusing me. Thank you.
number 2 on the old one.
That's
Yeah.
what I brought those, just a-
You want us to be referring to the old one or the new one, right?
just
It doesn't matter. I'm on the right line.
You know,
Just
So,
so
okay.
use it.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Can you say that again, Costa? Because now I'm finally on number 3.
Determined to be illegal by town council or inappropriate as determined by the library director. So everybody knows who makes the determination.
Can we take out the words in a place that is free and open to people of all ages? Can we take that out
How would you take?
and just say inappropriate for public viewing by the library director?
Yeah, I like it.
It's a public library. I mean, it's pretty obvious that we're open to everyone and anyone.
That's fine
Yep,
with me.
I agree.
This line?
Okay. Yeah, so that gets rid of that, okay.
Fine.
Good sounds like a permission, right?
Can I see you?
The marked up one of the.
I have no, the fine, because I have the
I know
marked
it's
up
hard
one.
when you do,
Yeah.
it's the fine item,
Okay.
so it gets rid of all that.
And just starts with permission to use facilities to not constitute liability.
Oh, it says exhibits are accepted at the discretion of the library director, so now that becomes a duplicate
Oh, from what?
from what Costa just said.
Oh, you go down further. Where
Well,
are we?
because that's,
He's going down
Right.
there, no, he's down here.
I'm in displays and
oh,
exhibits,
okay.
so it becomes. Where does the first one apply to?
You're on number 5 at the bottom?
Public notice? Well, one applies to public notice bulletin board and the other one applies to exhibits. Okay, so that is different, right? We need to say it again under exhibits. So that's fine.
Mhm.
Where are you looking?
I'm looking under displays and exhibits.
Mhm, that section.
Yeah, way at the bottom where it says exhibits are accepted at the discretion of the library director, and it's valuable to say it a second time because it's no longer talking about the bulletin board, now it's talking about exhibits. So I'm kind of questioning myself and then,
Yeah, I mean, it's two different
yeah,
things.
yeah,
Different item.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm looking for,
That's why I was.
We're in the process, or doing something in the foyer downstairs, maybe digitally, or does that need to be addressed in here? Or we're okay?
That's, no, that.
no, no, I wasn't, so I think this needs to be removed. That is not patron friendly.
Well, you say that.
Yeah, I just, that's why I wanted to see
Oh,
the
to the
final
back.
copy, because on this
Oh,
copy,
you
it was
couldn't
already
see it?
crossed
Oh.
out.
This one.
And is that? That is.
So,
it's still
exhibit-
here.
What is it
Still-
that you're talking about?
So, under displays and exhibits,
What do you?
because I don't have the fine, I have this still the crossed out one, can you point out to cost? Under the 1, 2, third paragraph,
Right here.
third paragraph,
Final
Yeah,
one.
where it says exhibits are housed in the library's meeting room are available for viewing during meetings and library programs only. And then I want to cross out the sentence that says, Loretta and I have discussed this back and forth. Doors to the meeting room are otherwise locked. I feel that is a negative way of talking to our residents and patrons. And I think if we just state what it is,
Being that the viewing is.
the
during
room's
meetings
available
and
for
library.
viewing at these times, we don't need to then also say, you know,
They will-
that room's gonna be locked the rest of the time.
But is it going to be locked? the rest of
Doors
the time?
are locked,
The
yes.
locked rest of the
I
time?
don't want people to think that it's just when an exhibit is happening, that they can just come in and see the exhibit.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it is important to have it in there, just to be abundantly clear.
But I was
You know,
gonna,
people can, yes, come, you know, they can come to the meeting, but if they think that, oh, I can just come outside of a meeting because it's an exhibit up all month long.
But it says
They're
it
gonna
right here,
arrive.
viewing during, so it says it clearly, but.
Right, but
it's wrong.
yes, but it's not available outside of those programs. So if we want to somehow combine the sentences into one somehow.
But it says only, you got that word only in there. So it's not available any other time, it's only available.
So it's, you know, again, it's a, you know, if the board wants to
Right.
change it, I just think for clarity's sake.
So my question is that if I can win, there's no,
and I would move the only. Earlier in the sentence, large meeting rooms are available for viewing only, and I would capitalize the only during meetings and library programs. Right, and I think that makes it clear that that's the only time they can be.
yeah. And my question is, if there's a meeting going on, people can just walk into the meeting and start looking at artwork? They don't.
It's a
So
public
it's a public,
meeting.
it's a public.
I know, but wouldn't you, I don't know, I might feel like I'm interrupting the meeting to look at artwork.
Well, right now, we're in a public meeting, somebody
Someone could
can
look at the
come in
stained
here and
glass.
look at the stained glass windows, you can't keep the public out of a public meeting.
True enough,
True
it
enough.
just sounds
People
like
looking
to
first.
only be able to see it when a meeting is going on, or to only be able to see it when there's like these kids running around having a great time.
I think it's important to have something written that if Loretta's not here, anyone else can look at this and say, if 20 years down the road, someone could look at this and say, well, we are to keep those doors locked.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
Is it possible to consider that if there's no meeting or program going on, so the doors are locked, that a person could come up to the front desk or even into the children's room, because they're right there, and say, hey, is it possible for me to see the art exhibit? And for there to be a sign-in list or something, so they can say, yeah, sure, let me open that door for you, but we need you to sign in to say you're in there.
It's an interruption of staff time that I'd not like to encourage, to be honest with you.
Except
think
I believe our staff is here for our patrons.
I do, I understand what you're saying. We've run into concerns in the past, which is why I firmly stand by the wording in this policy. So I don't want to, I don't want to have in the policy that we're gonna make an exception for people, that we're gonna be able to open a room. Because we may not be able to. The fact is we may not be able to stop what we're doing. If we're helping another patron, or if we're short-staffed, or we're in a program.
Well, you can say, I'm very, very sorry, but I'm working with this patron right now.
Right, I
I'm
don't
happy
think
to
it's
help
in
you in
policy.
15 minutes, I mean, I just want to be as open and welcoming to our public as possible. I want them to feel they can come in here and that we want to do extreme customer service, what we can do.
I don't think exceptions need to be put in policies. I think that's a slippery slope. We'll make an exception.
But I wasn't considering it an exception. I was saying, take the word only out completely and say they'll be available, but if the room is locked, please consult a librarian, a library staff.
That opens the door to interruptions in.
Right,
Taking
but
that
also
out.
too, it is an increased, but that's not the biggest issue. It's that we don't necessarily know if we're going to that we can have the people to step away from the desk. That's what I don't know.
So
And to have that in the policy, I think it's setting us up for trouble. So like I said, to have exceptions in your policy, I don't
Exceptions
advise.
throughout every policy, we put them all over the place, we qualify every line.
I mean, the staff is here to help the patrons and to be interrupted. Working at a library is to be
Can you
interrupted.
rephrase
You never
that?
get to finish, you know this more than anyone, but you never get to finish anything. You always are interrupted. But I don't want to say to make an exception. I just want to say, we will-
Opinion on that?
Do that phrasing.
I feel that keeping the only in sets the limit, and it's not like the library isn't welcoming to people. And
But
You
I'm
mean what
just-
Costa said with the only, adding the word only?
no, I'm just moving the only.
You're saying
Oh.
having the word only in there, we can delete the wording, getting rid of the doors or otherwise locked.
Get rid of that
Because
sentence.
because it's stated that's only during.
right,
So get rid of that sentence.
Yes, I mean, I'm happy with that.
And we got rid of it already.
Yeah, I'm just asking as a
you're-
discussion on this topic, don't we think that for our patrons coming in, we want to, so if Susan is having a display on her beautiful children's book and it's in that room, if someone comes in and says, I would really like to go in and see Susan's books in that room, wouldn't we want to make that available to our patrons who are interested, even if there's no meeting going on in there?
So we can strike that last sentence,
Yeah.
doors to the meeting room are
You-
off,
you said it.
otherwise
Right.
locked.
Right,
You already
that's-
did.
You
Yeah,
did-
that's
So
done.
You
so you
didn't
did
hear
it to Costa's wording where you added only
Only is.
for viewing,
during.
only during.
Yeah,
Oh, you could see.
in
you weren't-
caps, she
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, you
And
weren't
then
clear
this is
on
gone.
that.
Okay, all
That
right.
wasn't clear.
I didn't put it in caps, I put it underlined, is that?
Oh,
Same
that
word.
sounds good.
That
The
is-
cost is okay.
Is it
Caps means you're yelling at somebody.
Is it possible to also say, like programs, meetings, and other scheduled times, so that it doesn't happen, it doesn't exhibit there, and you can, if you want to schedule a viewing, 3 to 4 on a Wednesday afternoon. Or is that creating too much?
And then who's gonna track it, who's gonna keep track of the schedule and like take the reservations and.
No,
And be in the room to have it Yeah,
I mean, I
because
think
I
that if
just,
you have artwork and things like that displayed, you need to have some sort of control because. Not my artwork, but some people's artwork could walk,
the frames alone
yeah.
are, they're not they're mounted on just a hanging system, they're
Yeah,
not.
so I mean, I think having the door, locked and then having people in the room, because if people are in the room,
Hmm.
people, I mean, nobody's gonna steal my artwork, but
Nope. I
But
thought they're
it's-
almost lovely.
it's, I think that leaving it open,
So we're getting rid of that last sentence, doors to the meeting room are otherwise locked, and
Period.
getting rid of that, that's
And
it.
changing location of only from the end of the
Yes, moving
sentence
the only.
before.
Yeah.
during
Say that
meetings.
again, Loretta,
Just putting
Yeah,
the
just what we
only in
said, putting
front of
only
in front of,
during.
okay.
All right, well, let's
sorry, yeah.
settle that for now and we can discuss it next time we review this policy.
Sorry.
We still have one more edit that was changed at the
Oh.
bottom, number 6. This was recommendations by the library, and the edit, under 6, that was the next one, item that was edited, right? Oh, no, actually, up above exhibit, there's a few more, I'm sorry. Exhibits that are judged, but did you already
Well,
correct?
if they're already corrected in the final, they've already been redone. This is just what,
Was before.
right, so this is what it is now. And
Correct.
so this is the only one you really wanna,
Oh,
talk
okay.
about, yeah.
You want us to look at the comparison, that's what we always do.
good, okay.
do you, does that 11/18 need to be changed to
Yes.
another date?
Today's
Days.
Yeah.
So
the added.
you said there was number 6, you were making a change to number 6.
No, I was just referring to the
Oh.
prior version to the
Okay.
current version, because Mark and I are
So-
looking at old version compared to new, that's all. To
So
see
the
what
only
changed.
changes I have, I added under public, exhibits. Number 1 now reads, the library director must review all exhibit proposals prior to hosting.
where?
Didn't you wanted wording added in that it has to be, exhibits have to be reviewed by the
That
library
was
director?
Costa's comment.
Yeah.
Item
Because we
3,
have
I
something.
thought that was item
on-
3.
that was item 3, it used to be 2.
My comment was on the bulletin board, not on
Yeah.
the exhibits.
Yeah,
So
Item,
Right,
Three.
we bounced back now.
back
public,
to the
public
beginning.
notice bulletin board,
Mhm.
number 3, we added in judged by town council to be
Okay.
illegal. Or the library director to be inappropriate for public view.
oh, yeah,
We took out the open to all.
yeah,
Judged, so after judged is by town council.
Yeah, to be
To be
illegal,
illegal.
or for the library director to be
Inappropriate.
inappropriate.
for public viewing.
Yes, yeah.
And then that lets you take out, as you suggested, in a place that is free and open to people of all ages.
Yes, yeah,
Right, so there's,
okay,
that was the first proposed change.
Mhm.
The second proposed change was adding a statement under exhibits.
I'm sorry to do this, and I don't wanna beat a dead horse. By town council or library director, does either one overrule the other? Does
No,
once
no,
one says it's in?
Illegal is town council, inappropriate is town.
Library.
Yeah,
Library.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, and then we're back under display and exhibits.
Right, so we now have number
Display.
1. We added in a new number 1, it says the library director must review all exhibit proposals prior to hosting.
Can I see? which one?
The final one, which one is
Where-
I
that?
somehow only
Where is
brought
that,
the
number one?
corrected one and it's
On
not.
the
Doesn't
in
say
public
that in the
notice
final
board.
one, which one are you on?
So the
looking
public
at?
notice bulletin board has the library director or a member of the staff must review all notices prior to posting. It was
Right.
recommended, and I don't remember who made the recommendation, to add something in under the exhibits as well. There was no statement on who reviews exhibits. So we
No,
added
because
in-
it already says
No, we-
exhibits are accepted at the discretion of the library director. It already has that in there.
That's under the first section, the bulletin board, right?
No, it's also under the
Right, but
exhibits.
it was requested that we use the same wording as above and below, so the numbered list. We can take it out, I mean, either, but it was my understanding, you wanted it in the numbered list saying the library director must review all exhibit proposals. If that is
I
a
was the one
no-go,
who had said we should keep it consistent,
right,
and I
so
do agree with
you want
myself.
it in there?
Well, I think it should be in both halves, don't you?
Right, but now you're contradicting yourself. 'Cause
No,
you said
I'm-
exhibits are accepted at the discretion of the library director. That's in the wording in the paragraph above.
Yeah, so I'm saying I'm not sure we need duplication, that was my comment.
Correct, so.
I'd rather have it be both the same in both halves, so we're consistent. And there's no one saying, well, you let it for exhibits, why don't you let it for the bulletin board? I would rather everybody understand that it's consistent for both. And that's why I'm saying that the sentence, exhibits are accepted at the discretion of the library director, may be duplication if we add that number one.
Okay, so do we want to take it out then?
The exhibits are accepted at the discretion of the director?
No, the new number one.
Oh, I
And
don't
leave
think
it in
so.
the-
I think we need to have number one in bulletin board and number one in exhibits. Be comparable.
So we're taking out the wording in the paragraph above.
Which is here,
You need
right,
to
so
see that.
Exhibits are accepted at the discretion of the
No, I'm
library
looking at
director.
that.
Oh, you
I
want to
need
see
to
the
see
new
this
one.
that's here, but this is already here.
Right,
You've asked to add that same wording here, and we're wondering
where is it though?
if it's right here.
Exhibits are accept.
It's just
accepted
gonna-
at the
but where is it
discretion of-
under number, where is it,
It's
Loretta,
not.
in your?
It's
It's
here.
not.
It's not,
up
you
there.
had recommended we add it in.
Oh, but I thought it was added in. I didn't realize
I
you had
just
not.
typed it in.
Okay.
You had
So that-
proposed it at
so
this
then we
meeting.
remove this
I would say we remove this
and add it here.
and add it here because it should be the same as,
This first one.
yes.
So if that's the case, we may want to rework that entire last paragraph.
Yeah,
We
see,
wanna-
I think it should be consistent how we say it for public bulletin board, that we say the same thing.
So displays determined to be illegal, we have that same statement.
Yeah, I think so. I like it.
So-
And it's clear.
Do we want to remove it though? Because it's getting redundant. I guess, if we're adding, if we have it in the number points up above,
It
the
doesn't need to be
numbered
here.
list,
Right,
It doesn't need to be in the paragraph.
right? So now I'm asking, do we want to just
Remove the paragraph.
correct?
the whole paragraph.
That whole paragraph?
Yeah. Here's the question, see, she's got displays determined to be illegal or inappropriate is here. Okay, the real question, if I'm getting clear now, and remember, I haven't looked at this in 2 months, is should it be in paragraph form or should it be in bullet form?
Right,
The fact that we're putting it in there is agreed upon, and the way it's being phrased is gonna be the same in both halves. You're saying, should we put it in paragraph form, or should we then eliminate the paragraph and put it in bullet form? Is that your question?
so correct, do we want it in both places or just one?
Just one place.
So we have that final paragraph there
Right.
that starts with exhibits are accepted at the discretion of the library director.
So let me
That
present it to,
entire paragraph is stated either above or below.
okay,
And then,
so the question is, do we want this sentence?
It's different,
No, where's the one that Costa just wrote?
right here.
Yeah.
Reviewing
Right.
illegal
Do we want that to be in a bullet form, or do we want it to be mentioned here in a paragraph form?
It's all written down in the policy.
It doesn't
It does
matter,
the
it's
same,
in
it
the
does the
policy.
same.
I don't think it matters.
So as long as it's in both the first half and the second half,
So
in
it
the
doesn't matter.
similar phrasing,
It's there.
as
Yeah,
long as it's
say it.
consistent, top and bottom, bulletins and exhibits.
you want the legal, I'm sorry. I'm
No,
gonna
no,
ask
I
for
want you to-
clarification. Are you saying you want the statement about council review and director review in both numbered lists?
It says displays determined to be illegal or inappropriate for public
Correct.
viewing. Well, I think it should be the same phrase that Costa brought up.
And this is
Displays
first thing.
determined to
Correct.
be illegal by town council or
And we've already done
inappropriate.
that. We've already done that.
But
My
have you done
question-
it in displays and exhibits?
Correct, that's what I'm asking. Do we want it in the above list and also in the second list?
Sure.
Just to be consistent. I
What's the
think
first, what's
So
the
we're-
above list?
And that's what I, you know,
This
where I'm
is way
asking, like,
too
do we
much
want
time.
this, where's the redundancy, you know,
Wait,
what
Loretta,
redundancy is
Does
acceptable?
is the first list the bulletin list and the second list the exhibit list?
All exhibits and displays must adhere to the following guidelines. It's set on both. Do you
I
see what
think
mean?
we're really spending way too much time.
So there's,
I don't understand what her
So-
confusion is, Susan, that's what my problem.
There is no confusion,
There's-
she's doing.
correct, so I'm
What
asking,
you
the
asked.
bulletin board is different from.
Correct, so
The
let's-
displays and or an exhibit.
Correct, so we want to say. Displays determined to be illegal and make sure you add the words by town count as,
Same
right?
as, same as in the
Same
first,
as-
same on page one.
So
Exactly,
we're
done.
done, copy and paste, but change it to
Right.
displays.
You're
Well,
done.
done.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking, so we're going to get rid of that
Oh.
final paragraph.
Okay.
Yeah,
The exhibits are at your discretion.
Because you're not looking at the clean one, that's why.
no, but this is the clean, where's the final paragraph that she's?
I'm sorry,
You know what,
I
we're
think
we're
you're not-
spending way too much time on this,
I
Allison.
think it's the same, it's hard to see with the.
I'm sorry, I'm
Displays and
an
exhibits.
editor.
Displays and exhibits section is the one I'm on. It has the paragraph
which is page two,
before the,
which is on the
before the
second. page.
numbered
Yes.
list, there's a paragraph.
Correct.
We're gonna completely eradicate, eliminate
This is gone,
that paragraph.
Instead
Okay.
we're putting what?
The one on the.
this is gone,
Nothing.
we're making a
Nothing.
copy
It's
of
gonna be updated.
That.
this,
And where are we putting
and
it?
it's going on.
Nowhere, it's, you got it in the
No,
first
no,
page.
no,
right?
that's the problem.
That's
We're gonna also have that same paragraph that's on page one, on
Okay.
page two.
In the numbered list.
In the
As,
numbered list.
bullet number one, so we're getting rid of this,
Above.
the entire.
That whole paragraph,
Exhibits,
he wants to.
exhibits accepted, are accepted at the discretion of, that's gone. And now that's gonna be replaced with
The sentence
the
that got
same as number
edited.
3 on the other, which is to be judged by, the
Mhm.
library does not accept,
Mhm.
town council, library director. And then that's going to be the new number 1 under the bullets,
Of exhibits.
So
all in favor of.
the new number one,
Yes.
the new number one is the library director must review all exhibit proposals. Then it goes to exhibit space
What?
must be reserved in advance. Number 3, library does not accept displays or exhibits that are judged by town council to be illegal.
Yes, so it's
Yes.
that same number 3 as the.
Correct.
For the other ones.
Okay, yeah, so it's not gonna be the number 1. it's gonna be- Good,
Yeah.
so
Can I make a motion?
please, yes, someone.
I'd
please
like to make a motion
to-
to accept the edits as described. And Loretta
I
has
second.
taken in.
All in favor,
I really hope I got all that.
Yeah,
I'm sure Allison will. let you
I know, I'm
I
very
have the
confused.
report. Not me, your marker.
Thank you
Now,
all
in,
for
in our
saying-
defense, in Loretta's and my defense, with her travels to the library conference before, and then my disappearance to go to New Zealand. We just really didn't have time to really work on this like we usually do.
I think you gave, did you give me this, is this yours? I can make a copy
No,
with my
it's
notes.
okay.
after.
Maybe I just feel like.
Okay,
I tucked
thank
it
you.
underneath out of the way, sorry.
No, thank you, sorry. All good. All right. There, so we're
So
gonna,
moving on to policy 20.
yeah,
It is my recommendation that we rescind policy 20. It's our AV borrowing policy. It's a bit outdated at this point, and I think what it states is in our patron borrowing policy that we just recently updated.
I agree.
You gotta make a motion.
I'll make a motion to rescind policy number
20.
20.
I'll second that motion.
all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to F, treasurer's report.
Right. After the October meeting, Loretta found more records that were not in the treasurer's box that I went through
Where were they?
in a filing cabinet. And so,
So there were, well, yeah, in filing cabinet. Yes.
What were they dated? What was the date on them? Before or after the stuff you had looked at?
they were in those dates,
Oh,
okay?
okay.
So it gave me some more information.
Good.
And based on that, I sent you all the email with,
Can you summarize the more information?
Was there more money?
no,
Just
no,
more
no, there were more
That-
identification of expenses.
oh,
All right, that, I couldn't, find, like, there were a lot more expenses from the Malone Fund, for instance. And there was a couple of expenditures that, one was for $800, one was $1,700 that I had no knowledge of before I saw. So,
Help clarify.
Yeah. so I sent that,
Spreadsheet.
Yeah,
and I have a couple of copies if anybody needs them.
I will take a copy rather than do it on my phone, please.
So,
Yeah.
basically.
Is this this is what we have?
Yes.
Yes.
Good, so I printed it, okay.
All right, so. Basically, what I did, in February of 11. Each of the funds was in a separate CD. Which were then shortly thereafter, they matured and they were all combined. So I took the percentages. Based on that, and then subtracted expenses. From the Malone Fund and from the Scholarship Fund. And from the unrestricted ones, and then reconfigured the percentages after the expenses. So as of now, the Emerson Fund is 23.58% of the total. The BF Emerson 46.45%, and the unrestricted 29.97. The scholarship and the Malone Fund have been used up. So at the bottom of the email, of the spreadsheet is my proposed motion to transfer 100% of the assets held by the front library trustees to the town of Middleton to be held for the benefit of the library in the percentages I mentioned. And, they are, it identifies the BF Emerson and Emerson Fund, which have the same purpose: library expansion, major renovation, or unforeseen emergencies. And the town will hold it, the funds will be spent on a vote of the trustees. And once the vote happens, it goes into the warrant and the check is done.
And the town accounting department
We'll keep track.
will keep track of it.
Correct.
The pluses, the minuses, and maybe give you a monthly report or whatever you need
Well,
to do your.
It'll be out of our hands.
It would be out of our hands, but there is really no monthly report, because how often do we expend funds?
I don't know, we always got a monthly report when I,
You'll still get a monthly report,
okay.
and all of these funds will be in it. It'll be reported like we do with our state aid. Anytime there's a deposit or a withdrawal,
Okay.
there wouldn't be a deposit,
And what about
necessarily,
you
but
said the scholarship money.
it would
is
be
zero.
reported on a monthly
Yeah.
budget.
So
report.
does that
As in
mean?
the town, it would sit with the town.
It would sit with the town, but we would still get the monthly differences, the things that change,
Correct, it would
pluses,
just be
minuses.
part of the report that I'm getting.
Oh, perfect.
So Costa, I'm sorry, so when Costa you were mentioning that the scholarship account has no money in it. So does that mean we have no scholarship money to give students any longer?
Correct.
Well, that's unfortunate.
And really, you have to ask yourself the question, how does giving a scholarship, help the library?
It's not about helping the library, the scholarship, I mean, you know what it is, it's to encourage our students to do well in school.
Yeah,
And go to library school perhaps.
And go to school, college. The last time we did the, remember Sue, we did the Essex Ag,
Yeah.
we had some money, I guess we're not gonna have that anymore.
Nope.
One and done,
No.
but not even know we had one.
Well, yeah, and actually, the Essex Tech scholarship,
Mhm.
that check was never sent.
I don't know if we were doing it for this year. Didn't we do that for, because it was, did we do it for this year? Did we were waiting?
Past June graduating class.
We did it for the past June. We did the Essex
Why was
Aggie
the
one.
check
This,
never
well,
sent?
this,
That was before my time, I can't
So
tell.
why was the check never sent?
we're not sure.
Who would have cut that check?
I don't know when the vote was, I don't know who the treasurer
It
was.
was several months ago. Who does the cutting of the
Was it-
check? Don't you send it? Look,
I do not, the trustees send a check.
So that would have been our chairperson at
that
the
would have been
time.
Donna.
Would have
We
been
did it
Dawn.
during Donna's time with Essex
Yeah,
Aggie.
we did.
So. That.
She was the treasurer, yeah,
Yeah, that, and it came about because the recipient of it,
was like, where's my money?
no, it wasn't.
No.
Loretta asked
Loretta
about
said,
The-
how's your money?
Yeah,
Right, so there.
and she
Not
did not
really.
want money.
Right,
You mean,
yes.
how's your
Oh.
money?
No, but that's how
I
it
know
happens.
what you meant.
So can we issue that
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
even though?
I mean, it's accounted for.
Is it accounted
Yeah.
for?
Oh,
That's- I thought
okay.
the poor person who received that was not gonna get their
No,
money,
no,
and we told them they were. I'm glad to hear that
Yeah.
money is still
Yeah.
allocated, okay.
right,
We
so,
didn't- I thought it was gone,
no,
okay.
you know, if, you know, that's why you see, you know, this 140 number.
Yeah,
In the last report from August, that was 141.
Mm.
But I reduced it by 1,000 because
Okay.
that check has
Excellent.
never gone up.
now who issues that check? Would it now be the town if we turn it
No.
over to them?
It's still gonna be us.
Still be us?
Yeah, you know, because
It's
when
gonna be county
I
balance.
became,
Gotcha.
you know, treasurer, I thought that we would have moved the money out a lot sooner, so. I asked Mark, you know, you stayed, you know, as the signatory of the bank account and the, you know, Fidelity account, because why
To
try
do
to change?
this.
So he's still, so I've got the checkbook and you can make out, you know, the check
To the
to
individual.
the appropriate person.
Well, I'm glad that you checked on that already, but they didn't get it, the poor person, kid.
So,
Yeah,
But I think, I think people are right, yes, it is a nice thing, but
and if we still had money in the,
Then we would do.
we would continue doing it.
That's fine.
because it was,
It is. I
it
just
was
wanted to be
a
clear.
donation to the library for that purpose.
Originally.
Originally, yeah, so we really couldn't use the money for anything else.
yeah.
But it wasn't
But
funded.
now it's gone.
Right, but now it's gone.
I mean, it is
It's
what it
gone.
is, but I'm glad that person we told that they received it this year would get
I'm
it.
really glad, Loretta,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah, Found out, yeah.
did you have more to present, or you wanna?
Make a motion.
Well, before we make a motion, I'd like to ask a couple of questions. Does anybody else have any other thoughts on this?
No, other than to move it to the town, no.
So our other alternative is to move some or all to the Friends as well. And I know, we've kind of gone back and forth about that, at meetings you may or may not have been at, but, one benefit that I'd at least like to throw out there and have discussed is that, if all of this goes to the town, for the town to hold, which we still then control, it goes into a fund that is really conservative and not a lot of interest bearing compared to the funds we've been in. Whereas if we gave some, my thought is maybe half or part of to the Friends to control, it could be invested at a better rate or, not more aggressively, but a little better, higher. Correct me if I'm wrong, the towns, this is gonna be held in an account that's lower interest compared to investment accounts.
So what I can offer, Mr. Chair, is that the main account, I'm gonna say the general money does go into a municipal bank account and is held in what's called a fund in our municipal accounting software. And that checking account is basically like a checking account. So it only earns that type of interest, whereas the funds for specific purposes, such a scholarship is the one I'm thinking about, because we just talked about it, but can someone help me out, like,
Oh,
the bill maintenance?
The Emerson and Beer.
Thank you, those, because they're designated to a specific purpose, the type of money that they are can go into a different type of account, which we have an investment account with a company, a firm called Bartholomew. Those are our more competitive acting funds, so the money that has a specific purpose can go in those more competitive investment accounts and be invested under the same policies that our money that is invested is done so, which that policy is set by a joint policy of the select board and finance committee, through our town treasurer, who's the custodian. But your day-to-day, so anything that's, that, general purpose of just the betterment of the library does have to go into more of a traditional checking account.
It-
And
it's-
you
solves
don't
what you said.
retain your interest in that account, excuse me, I'm sorry to.
No, that's okay, but it takes care of what Mark was saying, so it does go into a. something.
And we had a wonderful treasurer who really, George Cumming, who really investigated fidelity accounts and really advised us. He was a very conservative. I think we'll all agree that George was very conservative, but he advised us on ways we could maybe push it. Now, watching numbers go up and down, I had a conversation with a select board member at one point, and this was years ago. And we were advised that our money, obviously, we should protect our capital. I mean, we can't just be risky with it,
But
but
she's saying, but Jackie is saying that they would
They-
put in something that.
Don't we-
will have
Did you have
more
more,
interest.
did you have more to finish? Did you finish that thought?
So I can finish that thought and I think respond to Allison's thought as well. So our money, we have several different types of money with Bartholomew. They are our investment firm. We work with them on all sorts of work, including money that can be to a point invested, but we have to manage it in a safe practice. So our investment policy, as I said, is approved by the select board and the finance committee. And we work with our treasurer, particularly works with our advisors to ensure that the town's capital is protected. To your point, Mark, there is a distinction. So money in that traditional checking account, that general purpose money, that interest, when the way municipal accounting works, would not then fall to you. So you would not continue to accrue that interest. The money would be the money. But money that is earned through the Bartholomew account, that interest, which would be more competitive because it's an investment account versus the checking account, that money stays with the principal and can be later reallocated. The only caveat to that, I would say, is if there are any rules from the original donation, whether it was through a will or some other lending document, however, whatever you got,
State,
Costa.
state.
Exactly, if the estate had some sort of other specific wish, then we sometimes have to follow those, like for example.
absolutely,
So certainly those will be
Yeah.
followed, but you still wanna ensure that like that, you're protecting that capital and really just stemming off the interest.
So I guess Mark and Costa and Jackie, my question is, by transferring this money out of Fidelity to the town of Middleton, do we forfeit our ability to make decisions on how it's invested?
Correct.
Because,
Oh,
In their
invested,
best-
yes.
yes, because we had that authority previously.
Yeah,
Good.
but we shouldn't have,
We shouldn't
because
have.
we should have been holding the money.
Legally, technically.
And we weren't reporting to the state.
Well, the reports, yeah, I agree with you completely on
That
that.
was bad, so it's best that it goes. to the
Yeah,
town.
that's, what the state library trustee handbook says, that's what town council says.
Yes.
We should not be holding this
So
one.
we are indeed forfeiting our right. and-
A right that we never should have had in the first place.
Okay.
Right, so it was never right.
But you
And
would
quick-
retain, well, I'm not sure we retain it, but if we give. Allocate some of this to the Friends, would we have any input there towards investments or
No.
suggestions?
It's the friend, so it's not us, so I think I go with legal counsel is who we should be talking to.
Council said we could give it to either the town or the Friends.
You
We,
recommended
we
the
just
town,
can't keep it.
nobody recommended the town,
I recommend, my feeling is it should go to the town.
yes.
I just wanted to have a discussion. I'm not hell bent on either
No,
way.
I'd like to make. a-
Please.
I'd like to make the structure, be frustrated if I didn't say. The one piece is both the fund of general purpose for the betterment of the library and the other fund, which is all the other sub purposes. Would be subject to the same rules of the road as other town monies. So at the end of the day, you would need an appropriation from town meeting, so
No, that's not what town council said.
that's what our finance director told me this morning. But if you have it from town council costs, I don't have that in front of me.
Yeah, there would be a contract cost between the library and the town.
No, no. Yeah. This is my recommendation that such funds be promptly transferred to the town's treasurer. Albeit with a notation that it will be expended by the trustees for the purposes benefiting the library. Yeah. Okay, then. Yeah, a properly accepted gift is not subject to appropriation by town meeting. When we accept gifts for the Council of Aging,
Yes.
that money isn't then appropriated by town meeting, it's appropriated by the Council on Aging.
Then I might be unclear that it might be. There's something with the interest that might need appropriation, but I will ask Sarah to clarify because. That is a level of nuance she did not brief me on this morning that I'm retaining now.
Yeah, a properly accepted gift is not subject to appropriation by town meeting.
Okay, it might be the interest that I'm thinking of, but I'll.
You need to hear.
No, I have that.
I didn't feel.
Yeah.
You might have this, Jackie, too.
I know the Friends of Flint are happy with whatever way we go, so I'm not pushing for either way, I just wanted to open it.
So can I make a motion that we turn these funds over to the town?
Say, follow what,
Should I
question,
say
move, transfer 100% of the assets held.
Costa? Should I read the?
Yeah, you can,
Let me see.
yeah, it's,
Right here, honey.
And this one, right here. Move to transfer 100% of the assets held by the Flint Library Trustees to the town of Millon to be held for the benefit of the Flint Public Library, with 46.45% being the B.F. Emerson Fund, and the accumulated income above the initial gift of $10,000 to be used by the Flint Public for the Flint Library Trustees for library expansion, major renovations, or unforeseen emergencies. Then it goes on with. You want me to go on with the 23.58 being the Emerson Fund, with the accumulated income above the initial gift of $12,000 to be used by the Flint Library Trustees for the library expansion, major renovations, and unforeseen emergencies, and with 29.97% to be used by the Flint Trustees for the benefit of the library.
I make a motion. I'm sorry, I second the motion. I don't want to make that motion again.
You don't want to read it again.
Further discussion, all in favor, any all opposed?
so, mechanically, Mark, if you can, get, the money out of Fidelity. Put it into the checking account. Then close the checking account with a check for the entire balance payable to the town of Milton.
Except for the $1,000, whatever it was.
Yes, good.
Maybe send Mark an email.
Except cut a check first to the scholarship person.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, before you yeah,
We've already established that we're doing that.
okay.
Maybe an email.
Yeah, I think we can work through it, right?
And, if, there's a gift has to be accepted by the select board. The select board meeting is on the 17th, 2 weeks, or next
Next,
It's next week.
yeah,
Tuesday, so I don't know if things can move that fast, but if not, we'll just have to accept the gift later.
We could. As long as I can turn the turnover in by the end of the month, we could have the select board vote, if you know the exact amount. Then we could have the select board tentatively vote to accept the gift.
well, it's gonna have interest.
Oh,
And then
Since this is written.
Yeah.
turn it in.
And, Fidelity money goes up and down every day, so until the day it closes, we don't know. the
That's what you
exact
told me
amount.
to say, the percentages,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Yes, now I understood what you had to do
Mhm.
that way and not the amount.
So just to verify, make sure I'm getting this right, I'm gonna withdraw from Fidelity and close the account.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make sure the check is written to the scholarship. Awardee,
Mhm.
and then deposit this into North Shore Bank.
Ready to check for the full
And
amount.
then,
you go to there and you ask, I'm closing the account, they give you a bank check payable to the town of Milton.
yeah, I'm ready now, okay.
So, and
And that's gonna have to happen after that check clears,
here's the checkbook.
yeah.
Oh, you need the name of the individual.
I know the person.
Well, I mean, you can also,
I
Yo.
know her dad.
But you can do it at kind of at the same time. Close the account, get a check for $1,000 to that person and a check
Mhm.
for the remainder, you know. And that way we avoid the issue of the keeping the account open until that check gets cashed.
Good idea, thank you. That's why you're here, Costa. It's on the straight line, good enough.
Now that we've made the motion, can I just ask one more question?
Yeah.
So if
We've
we,
already voted on it.
no, I know, so that's why this isn't outside of that, it's a question. So now that we've agreed that we never had the authority and now we will no longer have the authority, how does the money, who decides how it's invested in Bartholomew to earn its
Yeah.
potential?
That's a conversation for the town, yeah.
So the town will invest it as best they
As
can
they do the
to
rest of it.
earn safely.
With all
Okay.
the other money that, you know.
Right.
Okay, okay.
We have a policy that is approved, Allison, so everything goes into the custody of the town's treasurer, who has been certified for this type of work, and this is like the common activity of a town treasurer is to oversee
Okay.
this type of investment work, and we meet with them once a year with the
Right.
administration and the treasurer and the firm, and
And they're just clear on our requirements. We are required to protect that money.
the level of.
Just like, yeah, he's
Yeah.
required to protect every other money that
Okay.
he's
This
invested.
is, with all due respect to the money that you're turning in, this is, you know.
Yes.
In
Peanuts.
amount of
I know,
money.
which is kind of nice because along with all the rest, we earn a little money, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, so we're on to the next item on the Treasury Report, act on recommendation to rescind policy 16, the trust fund investment policy.
So moved.
What do we have to make a motion for?
He just did.
I just said so moved.
Oh, so we take the motion, I will
Looking
second
for a
that
second,
motion.
thank you.
I just want to make sure that would be my
What
next
is this?
thing. Came 16 on the agenda. Well, I
Try the
was-
second item. below
Second
that on the
item on-
Treasury
Oh,
report,
rescind 16.
Yeah.
Because you don't need this without.
Yes, we don't have funds to invest.
There's no longer a reason for this. It's been moved and seconded by Maria and asking for a vote on this, please, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries unanimously, Stephanie. Moving on to the director's report. The G, presentation of curriculum and budget reports, please, Maria.
Circulation.
Sorry.
Circulation for the word.
Thank you. That's close.
We're close, you're close, Mark. Correct.
So I have printouts of the circulation report, does anyone need a copy?
Yes, please.
You did send it to us, right? So
Thank you.
it's one that we have.
You can either look at it digitally or I have.
Yeah, I have it.
35 printouts. Anyone else?
I'll take them.
Why not, right? Why not? So we're already through November. As you can see, our circulation numbers year over year, unfortunately, are still trending down. And yet our attendance is trending up, so not entirely sure where that's coming from, but, we are still tracking it. Hopefully we will see a change in that.
What is the pattern on this? You're saying trending, so how many months has this been the trend? I know I have it in writing at home in a folder, but.
So I believe we started out the fiscal year, don't quote me on this, I believe we started pretty much equal to where we were last year on circulation. And but attendance, we've been consistently going up, but then we started to dip. And we're continuing to dip on circulation, so.
Okay.
We'll continue to keep an eye on it. We are, you know, all the collection development librarians are taking a look at their numbers, so it's something we are aware of and working on. We are seeing strong numbers on our e-content use, audiobooks, ebooks. Overall, you can see our overdrive is going up. So overdrive use is going up.
Oh, yeah, I'm one of them.
So you can see this, at this point, we have circulated over 4,000 items this year, over 4,300. And last year we were just under 3,100. So there is a significant increase in our digital usage. We're still behind other libraries, comparable libraries. Our hard copies are served better than our digital, which is not always what you see in libraries, but we are seeing, like I said, stronger numbers with our digital collections.
Could it
which
just be
is
that
nice.
there are more people buying subscriptions to audio options rather than coming here to take them out, whereas other libraries that may not.
So it's the audio that we're seeing a large increase in. The biggest percentage is the digital audio.
Yeah,
And that's, I think, in large part due to the fact that new cars no longer have CD players in them.
Mhm.
So you need another format.
Gotcha.
If you're an audiobook listener, so Overdrive.
Yeah,
will fill that need,
we saw that at the book fair, the audiobooks didn't sell.
right?
And even though they're probably higher value than the hardcover books.
I know.
Right.
I have signed autographed ones that I just have no place to play.
You know, one of the big drops is in videos, which
DVDs,
you would expect.
right?
And if you took out videos, everything else is up, because videos are down 1,300.
Expect.
So, well, and so we were seeing the DVDs go up for a while. I will say, the staff, they're wonderful. I will never say anything bad about my staff. They're absolutely fabulous, but they are, many of them, new to library. So in a lot of ways, they're very green. This is a lot of collection development for new people to manage. So there is, knowledge you gain from experience and watching those trends and learning your community. So we were seeing an increase in DVDs when the streaming services skyrocketed, or the subscription costs skyrocketed, and then they were cutting some of the titles that were being offered. Now they're starting to come back a little bit because they've heard from their subscribers. So, costs are relatively leveling out, but also selections are coming back in. So that could also be affecting the DVDs. But yeah, so collection development, it's a tricky thing. There's a lot that goes into it.
So when you say videos on this list, you mean DVDs?
DVDs,
Why don't we say DVDs? Why do we say videos?
because that's the only format we have videos in, DVDs. I mean,
Well, it used to
yeah,
be
it used to be VHS.
and there were still videos.
Oh, it just seems like such an old
Digital
fashioned term.
video.
Digital video, yeah.
DVD, but anyway, and also too, a number, with DVDs. We always thought that was kind of a dying format along with CDs. So like I said, when we saw that change in streaming services, we saw a bump in our DVD service, and now I think it's kind of dropping down, but we're not getting those numbers back in our digital videos. As you can see, it's the zeros, big fat goose eggs right across. In that breakdown. You can see the overdrive in this audio, ebook, video. Do you see where I'm talking about in the circulation report? And that's the middle section, the detailed breakdown.
Laura, can I ask you a question? I may be wrong, but on your screen, this is not hearing anything, turn up volume. Is that just the computer?
Oh, that was,
Or is that somebody saying that, a chat?
Stephanie had said when we were muted when we started.
Oh, okay, I just
We had
didn't
had
know
a
if
camera
someone
on, but
was.
before we started the meeting, we were
Okay,
still
I was
muted.
worried someone was saying that in the chat.
No,
I could see
we're
that.
good. It just didn't get.
Thank
picked
you,
up.
sorry. just
Thank you
wanted
for
to make-
checking. No,
Yeah, I
that's
want to
very
make sure we got.
So that breakdown of the overdrive, you'll see there's still 0 circs on video, and that's because, quite frankly, the selections of videos in overdrive are terrible. They're very poor.
Oh,
So that's why we're not making up the
so everybody's going to Prime.
circulation there. I hate saying that, but
I know, but they're paying for it rather than coming for free to the library, which is so sad.
so, we're looking into streaming costs or subscription costs for Hulu and Canopy, which are two that are open to libraries, but the cost is very high. So if we have anything at the end of the budget, fiscal year. We're looking to subscribing. but that's
Is there
the-
any,
And the cost changes year to year.
yeah,
And depending. on
is there
how the libraries
anything
subscribe.
we, maybe as the trustees supporting our patrons can write or contact or make our voice known to?
In all honesty, I would love to see state aid used. But that's just
Ah,
hoopla. or
for
fancy
Hoopla or Hulu,
Hulu.
but I'm wondering, for
and be-
Overdrive, can we contact Overdrive and say, hey, get your selection up because our patrons aren't interested in what you're showing.
They're always taking feedback, yes.
So we
From
should,
directors, from MBLC, but also there's a feature, if you're using Overdrive, that the app, you can put your suggestions in right through the app and it goes right to MBLC for sharing. So,
can I do that as Allison Sloan Library trustee or only as Allison Sloan?
well, yes, only as Alice, however, you're logged in on your app, which is only your personal, it's not.
Correct.
If you wanted to email Overdrive, you
Yeah,
certainly could as a
Yeah,
trustee.
as a trustee,
If you wanted that in your
can I do
signature,
that?
certainly.
And say, hey, Overdrive, we want to.
Yeah. Do you know what,
They are limited with licensing agreements, I will say
Just gonna
that.
say they
in all
probably don't have
fairness.
access to it.
Yeah,
what other libraries are seeing for overdrive video
it's,
use?
again, there may be one or two or zero.
Yeah,
There's just
it's
this-
almost like
it's-
not worth having,
For-
that feature for in an overdrive.
Just
Right.
about.
I think it's so that Overdrive can say, oh yeah, and we offer movies.
But how
But
about
the
if we
titles are
say,
not-
and we're not gonna pay for your services, they may.
Well, no,
say-
it's worth paying, and that's what they know, it's worth paying for their services because they do have so many different licenses from book publishers.
Book
It's
from-
worth.
Oh, so you
for them.
can't just, you can't segment
Digital
it.
licensing is
is-
very, it's a tricky business.
Yeah, but what I mean is we can't say, we'll pay you Overdrive for your audio, but not for your DVD.
No.
We can't do
It's
that, it's
all-
all lumped together. Gotcha.
And we get it, our pricing comes through the consortium.
I would expect, yeah, we get some discount through that anyway,
It's,
I hope.
well. They give it to MBLC and then MBLC works their formulas to determine what library pays what.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, I hope that contract between MVLC and Overdrive
It's
is
negotiated.
is negotiated, yeah.
All right, so that's the CERC report, short and sweet. So yeah, CERC is down for Stephanie for her minutes. CERC is down 726. But attendance is up 531, and this is year over year. So I am gonna give everyone a printed, like proud of you, all my sheets. are those. A new budget report, because the one that I sent you, there's an updated version even after that one, so. We'll please take one and pass it down. Hold on, my fingers started working. There you go.
My hands are so dry then.
This one is no good now.
So the one that was emailed to you is no longer valid.
It's what?
Additional invoices came in.
That's
And, and there was, a double payment on the light bill, so that number is reflected, it's changed as well. So the pink one, that's the most current, budget report. So, I mean, other than the changes in the light and water, we did add to the building maintenance repair, you see that line went up over the one that I emailed out to you. So we did spend a little bit more on this month's warrant, but significantly less than October's, because October was between the meetings was a little bit longer. So it went long on the October and went short on the November end, so we got more invoices, I apologize, more invoices on the October warrant than we did the November warrant, so. That's what you're looking at there. I do want to highlight that the state aid deposit is recorded here, the one that I emailed out to you, that the state said they emailed to, or they sent to us on December 5th for $12,352.85. That's a significant increase once again. So really excited for that. The one that the deposit that we received in April would be the exact same,
Say again, how
So-
much?
12,352. It's on
Right there on the
it's on your pink sheet.
Oh, here it is.
So we should get that same amount again in April.
Mhm.
So all good news,
Can I ask under services,
certainly.
you've got allotted 6,000 for programs,
Mhm.
but then we hardly have spent any?
Right, we're spending Friends money and anything that was over Friends, we were pulling from state aid. But yeah, we're with programming, and that's when we get to the budget, which we'll do next. We're spending that on like the in-house supplies, things that are carried over multiple programs, so like paper, glue sticks, craft supplies. But
Why,
also,
why would we be using state aid instead of?
we want to use
budget
our
money.
Friends budget, because that's what they're raising and allocating.
Sure,
for
sure,
us.
sure.
So we spend from 3 different pots right now.
But why would
So-
we be spending state aid first before?
We're
the
not
program?
necessarily, we're spending it all, that's what I'm saying, we're spending from 3 different pots. So,
Yeah, we should be spending state aid first.
Not necessarily, in my opinion, because program money can only be spent on programs, whereas state aid can be spent on several different things. So it gives us a little more flexibility if we've used program money for programs.
so we're only spending what we're only tapping into what the board already approved for use. They allocated, several
But
amounts
of course,
to
that's based
three.
on what you ask us for.
Correct, right.
So what if we get to the end of 6 months and you've still got?
That's never gonna happen.
Okay.
It's not gonna happen.
Okay.
And so actually, this is a perfect segue, thank you for it,
You're
to get
welcome.
into the FY 26 proposed budget. So if we could take a look at that, that is the other Excel spreadsheet. So I'm sorry, before moving on from off of the budget report, any other questions?
No.
Okay. So FY 26 operating budget, that spreadsheet, you can see you have the FY 25 budget in one column, that's what we're currently working on, or working off of, spending down. And then the FY 26 proposed. Do you want a printed copy, Mark?
Oh, if you have an extra one, sure.
Yeah, sorry about
And,
that.
Rather than open my laptop and lock up the rest of the table out here, I decided. No. Thank you.
So you'll see overall services went up $4,434. I increased our electricity and water slightly. We have been spending just under on our electricity and water, so I factored in a chance for a rate increase on water or electricity, but slight. Heating fuel, again, since we had the upgrade to the system, it's been running much more efficiently and we changed out the filters much more regularly. So again, we haven't been spending our full fuel line. I did increase it slightly to account for possible cost increase. But they were fairly insignificant increases, a 300 and a 200, 500 overall. Equipment repair, that one I increased by 200. We are seeing things, our equipment's aging, so we are spending that. If you look at the budget report, you can see that we've spent more than half of our equipment repair line, so I did increase that by 200. Our MBLC membership, of course, is going up, so I increased that 5%.
And that's a no number.
That it's not guaranteed, no. She's saying it's going to go up about 5%, so that's what I did there. So programming, I did level funded. We really cannot increase our programming load without increasing staffing. So, like I said, with the flexibility of state aid, and the generous support of our friends group, I'm leaving the 6,000 program line as
That's
is.
fair.
Postage line, I did decrease slightly. We are seeing patrons are opting to receive text messages now instead of
Nice.
and email. But text messages have been very popular for hold notifications and now overdue notices as well. So we were able to reduce that slightly by about $50. I feel comfortable with that. And contractual services, those go up every year. So there is a $2,269 increase on the contractual services line as well.
And that would be,
That's like our elevator service contract, our HVAC service contract, annual inspection of our elevator, our fire extinguishers, fire alarm system, sprinkler system, all those contractual yearly things.
And again, you're estimating and that you don't have an actual.
We do not. No, we do not. So there are some that I can kind of gauge how much they go up each year, a certain percentage. Others, fees from the state, like our elevator inspection fee has stayed the same for a few years. So it is an educated guess when you put this stuff together, looking at trends.
How much is the elevator used?
Every day,
Okay,
heavily,
good,
every day.
good, because when the elevators don't get used, they get very expensive to
Yes,
maintain.
yes. So we have patrons, yes, that use it, but also staff when we move our book carts.
Oh,
from floor to
yeah, I
floor,
mean,
And
you-
also our, our librarians and our custodians as well.
Okay,
and, you know, but what's happened in the past, in my experience, is hopefully never an emergency where you've got to carry you've got to have fire come in, or I mean, ambulance come in, and patrons have to be able to be brought down in an elevator. That works. Yeah, I know, I'm
Not
saying,
this,
hopefully
but,
not, but
I rode
when
the
it,
elevators at the book fair with the books.
good
And
for you.
for my first time,
there you go.
So office supplies,
Books, I
I-
was concerned,
Yeah.
but
No, it's built, but the floors are actually built.
no, I
with
was,
the books.
I didn't realize the conversation was going on.
It's great.
So office supplies, I increased it to factor in, inflation, but what we have right now suits our needs. So again, it was just a $200 increase on that. The building maintenance, repair and supply line, I did increase by $4,000, which is a more significant jump. But that's because we are seeing, you know, as you can see, we've already spent significantly, like almost 2/3 of our budget right now. So we do need more money, rather than sticker shock the town. I'm doing it in slower increments, with the understanding that we do have state aid we can fall back on should we need it. But I'm trying to get the building maintenance line to where it should be to support this building.
Good job.
The books and publication line, that 118,000 is sort of an earmark, because that is a percentage of our overall budget, which you will notice, it doesn't include salaries and wages because that is still, to be determined. So once we have that number, then I'll be able to plug in an official number for the books and publications based on a calculation of our overall budget.
And the salaries and wages aren't determined because you don't know what the COA is for next year, or like.
The COLA,
that's what I
yeah,
said.
yeah, right, that hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah, gotcha.
May I make a point of information?
Please.
So non-union COLA has been set, but you now have, as of recently, you'll be getting a wonderful email from me. You officially have a bargaining unit here at the library now for everyone outside of the 2 management employees. So, any changes to that salary line will need to be bargained before they're gonna touch it. So we may not have a resolution at the time that you normally see your salary budget resolved.
So what does Loretta have to do? She has to guess at that?
I will, work with Loretta to plug in her non-union COLAs, but then we don't actually put, that's a great question, Maria, I appreciate you asking it, because I
Well, I'm
forgot.
always concerned about people getting paid.
We keep it as status quo until we have determined
Yeah.
the, rates, because we wanna maintain our bargaining position.
Great, thank you, Jackie.
Loretta, how does this impact our state requirements for certification?
That's what the percentage is based on.
So that's what I'm saying. So
So-
how does this impact that?
Right, but I can also look at MAR, what has been appropriated to us, municipal appropriated, to us over the past few years, get that average that way. There's a few ways to go about it. Having the overall picture and getting the percentage that way is the best way to ensure that we are doing what we need to do.
Mm,
But there are other ways we can factor it if we need to get close to, and then if we are outside of where we need to be, we can just get a waiver.
Which,
So,
if I may, have done that, in my prior community. I worked with a library unit that had just formed, and the same issue had occurred during the budget process, to your point, Allison.
Yep.
And we were able to successfully either use the other calculation method, get a waiver, and make it work for the one interim year before we had a contract with the bargaining unit.
Okay, so,
So it's solvable. Just
So your
looking at-
experience helped us, Jackie, thank you.
Absolutely. Sorry about the.
yeah.
No, that's
No,
okay.
it's good. It's helped, very helpful.
You know,
No,
so
I
I will
just,
make sure.
I don't wanna
we-
lose our certification by
Absolutely
any
not.
stretch,
No,
and I
and that-
hopefully, yeah.
You know, and that's my job to make sure we stay certified, so, we do have ways to do that. And the other category, which is mileage, and then our dues. I did increase mileage a little bit because we do have people traveling more for the trainings and meetings. Fewer are happening on Zoom. And then the dues and memberships, because those go up annually, I did increase that line as well. So you can see year over year for the operations of the building outside of payroll. We're only increasing our budget by $9,759, not a significant increase, $9,759.
Yeah, well. 9,700, maybe it's not a lot of money, but it's a bigger percentage.
Percentage is correct. If you're looking at it percentage wise, it is, and that's because of the building maintenance. That was a big increase.
I was concerned that you were a little bit tight-fisted on the equipment repair increase.
Need the building and maintenance.
No, the
The
equipment
equipment
repair.
repair,
Oh,
again, kind of looking at where we're at, we're about halfway through the fiscal year, we're about halfway through the spending, a little over, so justifying it's a smaller increase. Looking at the trends of how we've been spending, so will that line continue to go up? Yes, but also too, some of the older equipment is gonna be replaced with newer.
That's what I'm
So
saying,
we
so,
won't be sinking money into and pulling from that equipment.
oh, okay, so the purchase of replacement equipment is
It's
not,
from
Okay.
that line.
okay.
4.1.
Yeah, just.
I think this is,
I did
a,
come up with that.
a very conservative increase for us. I think you've really done a hard job to maintain as close as you possibly can,
Right,
and I think that's hard work. I mean, it's hard to grow our library if we are so tight-fisted.
well, it's also hard to grow when we don't have the staff to increase the services.
Yeah,
So, this is. I guess if you're kind of looking at it, it's more or less like a level services budget. We've kind of found a point where we're maximizing our service outputs with our staff ability, our staffing ability. So for putting together FY 26, we're sort of looking at it as level services, like what do we need to do level service? With the understanding that I am submitting a supplemental request for a full-time position and 2 part-time
Should we look
positions,
at that
which,
now? Do you want us
yeah,
to
which
look
we'll
at that
start
now?
talking about now.
Okay.
Maybe, do we want to do a motion to accept
Oh.
FY 26
Do we do that?
operating?
Whatever you want us to do.
We can.
Why don't we do that, where we're moving off of that?
Just one quick question, so it's a higher percentage, but you said it's 4%, right? The town, my experience was always like a 5% kind of guideline for growth, right? You're saying,
No, well, because, you know, the revenue grows 2.5% from 2.5 and growth. So it's about 3%, you know, the growth had about 0.5%. But, you know, you can't, you know, force, you know, the spending to fit into that all the time, because if there's more need, there's more need, so. It might, you know, mean something, some other things, but. I'm just made an observation, I didn't say, do
okay,
anything
no,
about
I'm
it.
wondering, you know, just your perception, and obviously this is different than the school, so. What it was what we always had.
The older process say 5 on recording, I just want to be clear.
Cost of more conservative. than
All right, sorry,
this.
so can we have a motion to accept this operating budget as proposed?
So moved.
I'll second that motion for the operating budget FY 26.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Moved by Costa and seconded by Maria. Thank you.
So the FY 26 supplemental request will look similar to what you looked at last year, for those of you that were on the board last year. It will look similar to you, Costa, because you looked at it as a select board member. I did adjust some of the salary numbers, but again, we're waiting to see. So that is an estimate, the salary numbers, do understand that. But what we're looking for is more or less the same. So
One full-time and two part-time.
one full-time, two part-time.
So the full-time is broken down into 6-month segments?
Correct, because they get step 1 for 6 months and then they move to a step 2
Step
for
two,
the
okay.
next 6 months.
I was very confused by this.
Yeah, no, that's a great question.
And then
each-
and
that's assuming the steps stay the same, you know, assuming. But again, this is all up for negotiation, so this is very much an estimate, but just so I have numbers to present for you tonight.
and the circulation assistant is what does times 2 mean?
We're looking for 2 circulation assistants.
Wait a minute,
So you're looking for 4.
Yeah.
No.
One full-time person
And 2
that,
part-timers?
Yeah.
And two part-timers.
Mhm.
It's
One
because this
full-time
is
person at
split.
2
Right, I
different
get it,
steps,
I get it.
That's split, so
and
we think
then
it's more.
2
than one.
circulation assistants who are paid exactly the same hourly rate.
Right, and they work 12 hours a week each,
Yes,
and we've decided to do that so we don't have to provide benefits for one person who works 24 hours a week?
correct. Anyone that works over 19 is entitled to benefits.
Right,
So we have to keep them under 19.
yes, that's a
Um,
shame, but yes, I understand that.
So the gaps in coverage that we have, we're looking for about 12 hours a week for 2
So 24.
a week, correct? And then the other full-time position will be a 40-hour-a-week position, which drops to reduced hours in the summer, which is why the average is approximately
Mhm.
38 hours per
Don't you
week.
love it? But I noticed that in the job description, you say manage all reference inquiries.
Mhm. Right
That's for the
now,
full-time person who's gonna be an administrative assistant?
mhm.
So we're having a non-library staffer, an administrative person handling reference questions?
So the goal is that the full-time administrative assistant will be handling the library email as well.
But
the
answering
general email,
reference
the general-
questions? I mean, I can see answering administrative questions.
But so right now, everyone's handling reference questions and it's sort of kind of scattered over whoever gets the request. To be able to have it go to one person to manage them all and keep track of, you know, okay, so this one needs additional reference, additional research, tackle that. So to keep it, rather than it being split, you know, okay, so you take that, you take this, I'll handle this one. Anything that's requiring extensive research, most of them are done by administration right now, and
Because you're the 2 librarians.
well, and not
In the
even that,
building.
it's not even that, you know, it's very difficult to pull a circulation assistant up to go look at original documents.
True
or vital
enough, or
records,
how.
so. The ones that have a bit more flexibility in their schedule are those that are salaried, so it's currently fallen to admin to do some of the more in-depth. Not all, but most.
But you're saying that, for example, the head of the children's staff is not handling the children's reference
Most of the
questions?
children's reference that come in, they're like, oh, we're looking for a book for my son's book report or my child's book report. And then you're kind of pulling up the book and you're going into the stacks and you're getting them.
But that's not all
every week.
handled by children's.
Yes,
It is.
yes,
So this administrative system would forward it to children's.
correct,
Okay,
correct.
yeah, I'm just trying to, that's what you mean by coordinating it or managing it. Okay.
Managing
Okay.
the reference.
Not answering them all, is what I'm saying. You can't expect this person to possibly answer them all.
To the extent possible, I would love to be able to have patrons be able to get their question answered by the person they're first reaching out to, which again, most of our reference, I shouldn't say that. In person, it's mostly requests or material, like looking for materials requests.
Mhm.
And that happens at our circulation.
Mhm.
We sort of, yes, I know technically library world is considered a reference transaction. But that happens at our circ desks. It's a big portion of what we do in circulation services. Is getting people the items they're looking for. I know at other
Well, then-
libraries, you get passed off to reference if you come in to place a hold.
Right,
If you're coming in to check in and out, you're handled at circulation, but you wanna
Right.
place a hold, you need to go to reference.
Yeah.
We try to do that all at one desk here.
right,
So that would still happen.
okay,
People coming in, you'd have your reference transaction, your requests placed by circulation.
I'm talking about. more-
Anything that's
yeah.
coming in via email, which is our more labor intensive, so to speak. Reference inquiries, I'm looking for, where this person's buried or, or any of the vital records, stuff that
Yeah,
happens happened.
yeah,
That comes in via email. I would say 9 out of 10,
sure,
probably even more,
makes sense.
come in through our email, our general email that's linked on our website. Those are the ones that I'm handling. But again, track some of them, okay, here's the website, link to the historical society or.
Right, but what do you do
this
when
is
you
what-
get a kid coming in to our circulation desk and saying, I'm doing a report on the Civil War, can you help me? I want.
That's
this."
again, that's coming to the circulation desk, that's handled by the circulation.
Right, so to me, that's reference work.
Technically, yes, and
Yeah,
like I said,
yeah.
in the library world, definition wise, that's a reference.
Yes,
transaction. Someone's
right.
asking where the bathroom is.
And someone
That's
needs
handled
training
by-
in the reference interview and someone needs training in the collection development. I mean, that's a reference question. So my question is, rather than,
I think you're getting bogged down in the weeds a little bit. Because I
Well,
think
okay.
people coming in, like I said, with the circulation, that's we in-house, we're handling those questions as a circulation transaction.
no, no, I do
So-
understand this completely. I do understand it. But my question is, why are we asking for an administrative assistant when what we need is a reference librarian?
Because the reference librarian was shot down last year. We had it as a reference librarian,
But that's
but
what this
what we
library.
needed for was wrong.
Okay.
What we need is an administrative assistant. We labeled it as a reference librarian.
Hmm.
But the bulk of the responsibilities handled in this position
I can see
is
that.
administrative assistance.
Yes, I see this.
Who
So-
shut it down last year?
The town.
We
So
don't
what
have
we
any
do
reference
not need, and I
services
will,
this
and it was a
library.
valid point, we don't need a full-time reference librarian. The bulk of reference is handled by our
But
librarians in-house.
I posit that it's not handled with the level of training and experience and depth that we could be offering our patrons if we
And I
had.
disagree. I do disagree. Because how staff has handled it
Mhm.
has been successful. And
In a
then,
lot of ways, very wonderful.
so,
I've been in the
so again,
position,
like I
though.
said, I think we're getting bogged down in the weeds on this because that is such a small part of this role that we're looking at, and we do not need a full-time reference librarian. So that was a valid point that I heard from the town. I've adjusted it accordingly. Hopefully we see a bit more success when we put this forward as an administrative assistant. And then two
And
circulation assistants.
what
two
will
additional
this
circulation.
administrative assistant do to allow us to do more programming?
So they're gonna be desk coverage too. So as you can
Yeah,
see
yeah, yeah.
here, provide desk coverage as needed. They're also gonna be Sunday coverage and rotation, so that frees up time for staff that we currently have. So when another staff member has to be off desk, we have a body to step in
Mhm.
and cover that desk. So that we have more people here, so other people can go elsewhere.
Thank you. Go ahead.
No, these are good questions.
Yeah, okay,
These are all, we have to kind of think about it from all
Yeah.
different angles.
okay.
I mean, it's important to present why we're asking for this money with a full picture of how it's gonna be to the advantage of our patrons.
The biggest thing is we need bodies in this building. We do not have enough staff. For the services that we are doing, the number of programs that we are doing, we don't have enough staff. People are entitled to take time off. I encourage people to take their time. They earned it, they should use it. But that makes it very difficult
Hmm.
when we're trying to keep services at the level that we are currently operating at. So we need more people, and that's why I put this proposal again together, again this year. So Any additional questions or comments on the supplemental request?
And then last year was changed. the
More or
reference-
less, yeah, more or less.
Just
is the
changed it
same.
from reference to administrative assistant, so it's familiar. I'm sorry, not.
I think
Hmm.
it's good. No, thinking out loud.
That's all.
Shouldn't be. So do we need a motion at this point too? Okay. I ask for, request a motion from the. To move as proposed.
I make a motion that we accept the
Supplemental,
supplemental budget request as presented by Loretta.
Is there a second?
second,
All in favor?
Uh,
Any
Thank you.
opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Sorry.
I just be aware that for it to be filled. We would need an override. Because
Like you
there's,
did last year.
yeah, because, you know, other departments also have, supplement, and to be able to meet. All of them,
And select board, Mark hasn't been part of it, so he's not familiar with that, whole thing, meetings and stuff. Select board.
Yeah.
That was presented, you know, all that. Goes through the ringer, goes through the ringer.
Yes, it's, and as it should, I, one of
Well,
the,
because fire and police, they're generally top.
one of
Yeah.
the best parts of my job is working for a town that is so fiscally responsible. It-
Most are.
It's many, but maybe, I don't know, maybe not
I don't know
most.
many that aren't.
well, I could make.
Right, I
an
know.
argument that
That's
our
a
neighboring
Yes.
towns aren't, because
Anyway.
their single family tax bills are a lot higher than ours.
Very true, Preston.
So,
All right, so we've,
thank you for that.
Can we,
I'd
can
like
we,
to- Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry,
please.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Can we make a case to, the select
That's the
board,
next one.
basically, that considering the police and fire are getting so much in this new town center, that throwing a bone to the library might be the appropriate thing to do. I mean, I'm trying to figure out our arguments
that doesn't
as to
work.
why to
You
support and
don't wanna
advocate.
You
That
don't
doesn't
wanna
work.
set one group against the other.
No, I
Not even
truly
that.
don't, I'm
They're
just saying the
short-staffed,
balance.
I think we need
Look at the
to-
fires that took place,
We
they're
need
short staffed,
the public's
That's
buy-in, and,
correct.
I hope
Yeah.
to utilize my,
I just would like to strategize on how we present this so that for.
But
we-
as trustees, I mean, that is one of your key responsibilities is to
Mhm.
advocate for this library in
It's
the
gonna be-
budget.
It's gonna be
Yeah, yeah,
tough,
yeah.
I think it's gonna be,
Oh,
very-
absolutely, and it. I
it's gonna
agree.
be really tough, given the fires that took place this year and what they went through, I feel like that's gonna be tough.
The argument, I think, will end up being not what can be included, in the budget,
Yes,
but what can be included in the
In an
override request.
correct,
and how that's written.
So-
That's important.
That, making the argument that, this $110,000. Should be part of the override request, that's,
Mm.
the argument that we have to make.
Okay.
Because it can't fit in the regular
no,
budget.
Budget.
no, no.
Okay, well, that's what I'm asking, how do we strategize this, so, okay.
And I think,
Two hats.
but as trustees, you all got on this board because you believe in libraries, you believe in what we do.
That
Yeah,
isn't the question, Loretta,
Right,
it's more
no,
about,
oh, I know,
I don't think you need to school us like that, but there's no question about that.
I'm not school, I'm not, I'm.
No, but it comes across that way, I'm sorry, but it's obvious, we know the deal. I think we're-
Right, but I'm
we've been
saying,
around
but-
long enough.
But as trustees, to answer Allison's question,
Yeah.
to what you're looking to do is really kind of get out into the public and
Mhm.
really talk to people and advocate
do
for
you
the
doubt that
library.
I talk to people?
No. This is, okay, I'm missing my
I'm
mark here, I'm
teasing
just
you,
gonna
no.
skip over it.
I totally,
But for
totally,
those
I'm
that
teasing.
understand what I'm trying to say.
Loretta was getting ahead of herself, she didn't mean that for you, she meant that for the rest of us, not you.
But no, thank you,
We
Costa,
need to
because
advertise- we have to
that's a
advocate
good- I had
for
thought.
library. Within our social circles as well as the town. Fathers that make those decisions and how this is. communicated as well.
A point of information.
Please.
I think the one thing that I would encourage you all to take away from this is, in my experience, I was in a town that had override questions almost every single year I worked there. It's a very difficult road to compare yourself to other departments.
Yeah.
Work very diligently on why this request is important to the library as your talking points. Once you bring another department into the conversation, that's where you lose the argument, because once there's like setting verses and setting people up against each other, it's where you lose people. I should, brag about the library, focus on the library, and merits of the library increase when you're having those talking points.
So
in my
I'm
experience.
going to disagree with you only because in my past experience as a library advocate, the town said, well, this year was the elementary school, this year was the middle school, this year was this year's the police, this year's the fire, and now it's the library's turn. So that was the way I was asking, is it the library's turn this year? We've done wonderful things for the schools, wonderful things for the police, wonderful things for the fire, wonderful things for the community center. Is it now the
But
library's
they didn't
turn?
get their budget last year either, school, police,
Well,
fire, library.
I'm just saying,
So it's nobody's
we're not, we love them and of course we need them. And we're supporting them 100%, but I'm just saying our job, as Loretta pointed out, is to primarily advocate for what the library needs.
Yeah, and the advocacy is through the convince the select board that the need is here so that this amount gets into the override, calculated as part of the override. Then, if that happens, then work with all the other departments that are part of the override
Right.
to spread the word, to get, the votes
Right.
to do it, it has generally been the approach of the town to ask for an override that covers multiple departments, not to say an override, well, this override is for the library operating, this override is for the police operating, this is for the fire. Everything that all the needs of the departments are put together in, in one.
I've had the good fortune to work for a town that so valued the library that they passed the override because they supported the library, and then the others got to ride on the library's coattails.
And
So that's the perspective. I think that from what I've heard, this library is well loved in this town, and I think that that could be what brings the rest on board.
I think what happened last year, we have to remember, we asked $10 million for the municipal project last year.
That was a tough meeting,
Then
very
an
tough.
override, so I think people were kind of like, oh my God,
Yeah.
again, I think last year was tough on the towns.
Yeah,
It was a lot.
there was also another override on the ballot.
Correct, and there was the Masco override on the same ballot, it was a lot on there for the folks.
Yeah.
Next, bullet, are we ready to move?
So we're looking at program statistics
Yes.
next.
Please.
So that's the colorful Excel spreadsheet digital. I don't print that one out because it prints so tiny. Digitally, you can enlarge it on your screen,
No,
so.
I didn't print it out either. Oh, wait a minute, I did.
You did.
I printed it out itty bitty.
I did not bring a magnifying glass. for you, though. So, looking at adult programming, you will see that our Red Cross blood drive was canceled. That was made, the decision was made by Red Cross. They came here and that was during the unfortunate spike in the brush fires and the smoke was all in the parking lot. So they decided to cancel that, unfortunately. And then the TN tour was one that we canceled in-house, so.
When was that canceled?
Staff illness,
Oh. Michelle does that.
correct.
And where is the other one?
But I don't think you're looking at, are you looking at October or November? Looks like you're looking at
November.
November, is that October? Because it should say canceled there.
It says canceled where? It says canceled under T.
But here it is, here, keep this, did you print it out? The blood. I don't think, is that October? I can't see this far.
I don't know.
This is October, we're looking at November, you got the.
How do you know this is October?
Right here, October.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, I must not have printed out in November.
Okay, and that's okay, so I'll kind of get the highlights for you. So we had 32 live programs. We had 293 attend live in person. Then we had, for those that were virtual or hybrid programs, we had 3 people attend virtually. And 1 viewed them post recording. So we had 297 participants for our adult programming last month. Looking at tween programming, we, excuse me, we offered 2, excuse me. We offered 2 teen programs. And we had 5 attend. Overall, there was, they were all in person, so no hybrid or virtual attendees for those. Looking at our children's programming,
And you had to cancel 3 there.
we did, and that was again on staff illness.
So that's staff, okay. Staff there.
Again, this is why we need people. We need more people.
Well,
These
it was
are
an
great
illness,
talking
But
points.
that's different, there was an illness.
Right, when staff's out sick, we have to cancel programs. Because we don't have someone to step in as backup. So, it's unfortunate. So these are kind of, this is what we're seeing. Anyway, so looking at our children's programming, music, CFCE, they canceled because they were sick. So Jackie jumped to and did a replacement program, the Playroom Play Date. So we hosted that in-house program instead of CFCE. So great job on Jackie's part for quick thinking there.
Good.
So you can see that we had 13 kids programs, 257 attendees. We had 122 passive views on some of the passive programs that we offered, which is like our wall crafts, or 1,000 books before kindergarten. So in total, we had 379 participants for children's programming. So on the bottom of the sheet, you'll see our outreach. So kids outreach between Fuller Meadow School grades 2, our pop-up story time at Richardson's, and then our kindergarten visit at Fuller Meadow. And we reached 233 kids outside of the library. Our teen outreach efforts with DOIS, our November visit, we served 31 students.
How did that go?
Wonderful. I love that program. It's growing. The kids are getting more comfortable with us. So before they were too cool to read, and now they're getting to, like I said, more comfortable with us, learning to trust us a little bit more. And they actually hear recommendations from an old librarian. And they're like, okay, I guess I'll read that one. Felicia's much better at doing book talks with the teens than I am. She's fabulous at it. So we're seeing a lot of what we're bringing in is getting borrowed by the students. And then we're seeing the number of requests that they're submitting to us has significantly increased. So,
That's wonderful.
yeah, I'm really happy to be part of that, and grateful to Boston Public Library for reaching out and having us be their pilot satellite program. So adult outreach, that is our homebound delivery. We had 11 this past November, or this last month. So that's it for program statistics.
Mhm.
Moving on. So updates on staffing and training. I attended the Directors Summit last month. That was a 2-day summit. And it went really well. It was all about leading with resiliency during challenging times. So it was great. I'm grateful to the board for supporting my attendance at this summit, because it is open to public library directors only. So it's a great opportunity, and you meet a lot of wonderful people and you network with a lot of really smart, experienced people. So again, thank you to the board for supporting me in attending that program or training. Looking at building updates.
Sorry to interrupt you, did we not have something else for staffing updates?
We certainly can, unless it's an question asked, as I thought it was going to be.
It has to be,
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
may I offer a brief staff update?
Please.
Folks, I hope you all received my email on Friday, about some staffing updates happening in the building. So I'm here tonight, as many of you know me, Jackie Rosenhan, Assistant Town Administrator, HR Director. Tonight I'm wearing both of those hats a little bit differently. So one hat is my HR Director hat, which is just to, provide the update that I did on Friday, which your library director will be having an extended period of leave, starting at the end of this month. The second half that I wear as assistant town administrator is also that, myself and the town administrator put together a report in that same email with how operational work is gonna be, supported by our department, in the upcoming months. We handle this a lot with a lot of departments. It doesn't always go seen because many departments don't have boards and committees that they report to in public sessions, where the library does. But happy to report that, I think we'll see no effect on patron experience and work very hard to reduce the impact to staff as much as possible. I will say I can't speak to anything more in public session, but I, as always, am available for questions, as is Town Administrator Schultz back. So with that being said, here, and I'll be here this after the meeting too, if anyone has any one-on-one questions.
Are we gonna get an update that also Michelle isn't
Oh,
listed
yes,
at
thank
all
you.
here? I think that's pretty critical. We have two.
Yes, so putting the HR hat back on, thank you. Losing steam at this time, I apologize.
Sorry,
that's all right.
So you've had a long day.
So Michelle Chamberlain, the assistant director, has been approved for extended leave by HR. I can't speak to it more than that. And
What's that effective date?
today,
Oh, today, the
Um,
9th, okay.
so there will be about a 2-month period in which both the director and the assistant director will be out of the building. We're working on coverage with some bibliotemps work, but in terms of management strategic operations, that is gonna be moved into the Memorial Hall. We're gonna be supporting with our finance team as well as administration. Again, it's something that we do on a regular basis for departments when need be. So just wanted to come and say hello. I know you all well, I've been here before, but just wanted to be here tonight in case there were any questions that
The question I had, if I could, Mark, is that I'm sure the question you want to ask.
Please.
So I know you can't give a lot of details, but when we look at budgets, because we've been looking at budgets, is it gonna be, I don't know, people's time and what they have earned and how sick time and leave, is there gonna be additional budget funds, because they're not gonna be funded completely while they're absent?
So I can't speak to it in detail because it's related to individual PTO. But what I can speak to is.
Paid time off.
Oh, paid time off, okay, thanks for the acronym.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I can't speak to it specifically, but what I will say is I did meet with our finance director today. We are gonna bring in some bibliotemps folks that may have, some additional impacts on this year's, current fiscal 25 library budget. We're not concerned about any overages that are resulting.
That's what I was wondering, or if there was room to bring in more.
We're putting in for, 1 full-time and 2 part-time folks from bibliotemps to help,
Full two-part, okay.
to help cover, during this transition.
What positions?
One that's a professional librarian status and 2 that are circulation assistant, mostly for desk and program coverage. Things that are more management focused will get covered by staff, existing staff in town hall.
You.
Not just me, I want
You
to
and
be
Jessica.
clear, I have a
I know.
wonderful team.
I'm
of
teasing
people.
you. Move your desk here.
No, we do have a wonderful team of folks that all step up and have done with other, what comes to mind is we were able to fully manage our town administration transition in-house, which was great. And similarly, we were without a planning director for more than 6 months this
Yes.
year. And none of those functions fell to the wayside. You know, a few of the strategic items that you want a person to do, don't always get done, but in terms of making sure that the town's obligations and operations are maintained, that's what Justin and I are here for.
Great, thank you.
I'd like to ask the question. I'm sorry, Loretta, or I'm happy for you, Loretta, whatever your reason is, I'm just very concerned in a different direction as a library trustee that we have no involvement or even asked as the person, as the board she reports into. we had no advance warning from you in any director's reports that,
I don't think in an HR situation,
No.
we're entitled to anything.
I disagree, but, and not only that, my question also is, was the select board informed, or is our town administrative board uninformed as well?
That's a great question. So I informed you as soon as I was able to, as an HR professional. My role here is to serve you and the public, but also protect the privacy of our employees. So I would inform you as soon as I was able to, and Loretta's leave does not start immediately. So in the case of the person that reports to you, she's been appointed to this body and the select board, both boards were made aware on Friday. Well, Costa can tell me for sure. I think it was close to about the same time, maybe about an hour apart. But as soon as the leave was approved, from an HR perspective, and that's why I said tonight, I'm wearing 2 hats, administration and HR. I made this body aware.
Mark, were you aware of this before the board was aware of this?
I believe I called you about 5 minutes before I sent the email as a courtesy.
And
Apologies for answering.
It's okay.
I knew that. Answer, sorry.
he didn't know how to answer, he was thinking about how he was gonna answer.
I was trying to think of like what the timing was on Friday,
Yeah.
so.
I didn't remember the time.
So basically what you're talking about is we will have no librarians in the building once Loretta and Michelle are both
Okay.
absent. Right now, with Michelle out, we have 1 librarian down, and now our director librarian will be gone. And you're suggesting that that will not impact services, and I'm going to say, I disagree. You not here is gonna affect services and it's gonna affect staff. I'm not asking you to defend it, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying to our HR director, I don't believe that that is a correct statement, that our services will not be impacted by the loss of our director and our assistant director. And that being said, the second piece of my point is that you're going to bibliotemps to get 1 full-time and 2 part-time, which ironically is exactly what our director is asking for from the select board, right? So we need a director and an assistant director and a full-time person, 2 and 2 part-timers.
And what I can speak to is this, so there are certainly things that will be getting done during that 2-month period. We are not gonna be able to fulfill every function. But what I am saying is that our goal is to reduce the impact on patrons as much as possible. I would appreciate that when you say librarians, you're talking about our 2 employees that have master's degrees. I would also say we have a staff of 5 full-time librarians. I know we disagree on,
No,
The
it's a
definition.
fact, they don't have a master's degree.
but they
not
are
doctors.
librarians and
They're
they're
water
wonderful.
staffers, they're excellent they're phenomenal I love them, they're doing great jobs on so many things, this is not a judgment here, it's simply a fact.
But
We
I-
would not have,
I think we have to have faith in the staff that's here to, my boss was on a cruise last week and, we all did our jobs,
I don't think you
our
can
staff-
compare our
but-
director and
but-
assistant director.
Your
Well,
point-
but it
your
is,
point
it
takes-
is a fact that we will be
There'll be a loss.
without these 2 people.
We
And,
have to, it's a huge loss to not have Loretta
And the
here. It's
only-
only fair to say Loretta does an incredible job.
and the only thing, we can do
Have to say
is
that.
to deal with the situation
Right.
as best we can.
But
True-
acknowledge
true
that she
enough,
does a lot.
But I have high concerns
Mhm.
that we should be looking for a director to step in on an interim basis. I don't think that replacing part-time staff is what we need. I think we need someone who's going to be an interim director. I have 30 years library experience. I could probably be a candidate for that. I'm happy to help as we need help here. But I'm not great at the cataloging stuff. But my point is that I am trying to support the staff here. I'm trying to be a voice for the staff here, and I feel that for them to be trying to run this building understaffed, even before we lost Michelle and Loretta, we're understaffed, and then to ask them, in addition to that, well, sure, to our patrons in the town, you're you're not gonna get any programs in the next 3 months.
I
They
want to be
But
clear,
nobody
that's not
said-
the
Yeah,
reality that
nobody
we're
said,
talking
yeah,
about.
I think you're,
If I may, Mark, I apologize, so that was something we considered, was posting the position. But I feel very strongly, as someone that manages the recruitment for the community, we would not find someone in enough time and get them trained appropriately by the time, this is not a long-term situation, it's an interim
You
leave.
know, but there are directors who are retired and would hit the ground running for 3 months to cover.
But I will say that I train staff every day, as does Loretta. We had a conversation with town administrator Schultzback. I appreciate that I'm not a librarian, but part of my job is to work with all of our departments to ensure continuity when things like this occur. I'm not an AICP, but I work with our planning staff to ensure that that department ran smoothly for that period of time. Certainly, the library is a different department, it's a different way of
It's
being.
very different.
I appreciate that deeply as I'm,
I advocate for the professionalism. We couldn't just replace you. People couldn't just suddenly start doing all the jobs you do, should you be out.
there are
And
things
we
that
can't
people-
suddenly replace what Loretta does.
Certainly not, and that's where the strategic work would not happen as much. But the staff working on their programs, the building use, all of those things can still occur. And I would say that it's something that this community has handled well. We've had a lot of transitions over the past few years. We've had people go out on leave for various items. And most people have not even noticed that those things have occurred because our team has worked together to ensure
Well,
the continuity
I
of
do have
service.
one additional point to make, and that is that if the trustees as a board could not or do not have a responsibility for a director or an assistant director who come to HR to ask for a leave, the responsibilities of this board are budget, finance, building maintenance, policy, thank you.
We're not gonna do any policies in the next 2 or 3
Policy,
months.
well, I mean, I'm happy to work on policies, it's what I've been doing already anyway, but the point is that, we do have knowledge and experience doing this, and for us as a board to be eliminated from that decision that you're gonna do this piece and he's gonna do that piece and someone else is gonna do, I'm sorry, but we should have been given the respect of doing our job
I
as
feel.
elected officials.
I don't feel that I was slighted in any way.
Well,
so
I'm
don't
happy that
speak
you
for
feel-
me.
I'm not,
and.
I'm
I think
sorry.
That's what we're getting right now. We've got a 3-week notice here plus. And,
but it's all been decided
Yeah.
already.
well,
It's all been decided, Mark. They've already told us who's gonna be doing what, without even saying to us, hey, you've been doing this for 5 years. How many years, Maria, have you been doing
I
this?
think we have to have faith in our town hall as well. I think,
I think
think
they
they're
need
all
to have
very
faith in
keen.
us.
but I think they're all very capable of doing this and,
It's gonna be a strain on the staff.
of course,
That's
for,
be-
for,
it
for
should be
less than 2
acknowledged.
months.
It has to
Well,
be acknowledged.
of course, but
That's
there's
all
not,
I'm
but there's
saying.
not, I'm not acknowledging it.
No, I'm
that-
saying it, I don't wanna discount that, oh, and not, Jackie's gonna be working her butt off, I mean, that's a lot at the town hall, I think it's a strain on Jackie and her staff. But I think it's a strain on the library staff, and Loretta cares deeply for them, and I think she probably feels that too, like, I just wanna acknowledge it, not that we can really do much
I was
about
gonna
it.
say, we can. Everything we're talking about is, or not, there's nothing
No,
that
it's
we
not.
can do or have to. We
No.
acknowledge that it's gonna be hard, but I don't
I
think.
think it's
good
good
to
to
do.
back
People
them
like
a
to do
little
that.
bit and
Yeah.
invite the trustees
That's-
or the
I
interested
think-
trustee, if it's just speaking for myself, the interested trustee to work with the administration to find a way to ease how the staff will get through the next 3 months, because as good a job as you can do, as good a job as, well, I don't even know how Justin can even. And
You'd
one
be
more thing.
surprised the coverage we provide, but to your point, Allison, I take it seriously because I recognize this is the policy set and body of the library. My goal with this list was to work through day-to-day operations. So this list covers day-to-day operations in the absence of the director and the assistant director. Things like processing the accounts payable, this body will still review the budget. This body will still make those decisions. It's just the person who's processing them will be different during this brief period.
Mhm.
Same with payroll. It will be someone else processing it. This body still signs off. Your policy role will remain the same. Justin will be working with the trustees. If he's not here with you, I will be. We will still be in communication. All of those things that occur will still occur, but from a,
But who's advocating for the staff? Who is here day to day?
We've been over
But
that.
their union is,
Yeah, there you go. Their union.
they, remember, you know, this is a new environment. So we have to be very careful in what we do and say while the initial. Union contract is being negotiated. The advocate for the staff is the union, not us.
That's no matter what if Loretta or Michelle weren't here, that's the same thing, right? That would still.
Well, when the staff decided to unionize, they said, we want to be the advocate. We want our union to be the advocate for us. So. it's
But that
not-
was-
Yes,
I'm
but
sorry.
the union wants someone to be here day to day to help.
But there's nothing that they can do about it.
No, but this is what I'm
Costa, was that
saying.
going on in- But regardless of the change at the top here, that the union was coming in anyways, right? That was gonna happen, right?
Yeah, unionizing is not
It has nothing
a
to,
process
no,
like
it had
that.
nothing to do with the change, the.
they're
temporary-
unrelated processes.
They're on, thank you, thanks for right,
But, yeah,
they're unrelated,
they've been ongoing.
right,
for a
but it's
long time.
unrelated.
And they will still need a director and an assistant director to help them do their jobs and coordinate the millions of things that come unexpectedly, right? They're still gonna need that whether they have a union or not.
People will rally.
The union's not gonna have anything to do with their day-to-day operations.
So I think Allison, what I would appreciate is, I think you and I can maybe schedule some time before we leave tonight. I would love to chat with you. I think Justin would too. We wanna talk through everything. We do have a time crunch.
Okay.
I would need to be
Yeah.
respectful of.
Yeah.
And I think for me, when it comes to advocating for the staff, ensuring that they're able to do the programs that they've previously scheduled, ensuring that they have HR support, that their payroll and time off requests are getting processed and their scheduling is getting done. That's my number one priority because it's time
But I'm
sensitive.
worried they're sitting at the desk and somebody comes in and starts to be, problematic.
Sure.
And you're not here and there's no way to say, you know what, my director can help you with that.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. There are certainly circumstances, and this is not just library specific, when a department head is not in the building and staff needs support. And I think,
If there's an assistant, I mean,
but what I'll say is
you're
this,
making
is
light
that
of it, quite frankly, Jackie.
I'm really not trying to make light of it. What I'm trying to do is make sure that you try to explain that part of my job is to be there for our various staffs when their department head is away, whatever that looks like. So whether it's the library or another department, this is part of my role. This is part of what I do, is being a bigger presence when their department head is away. And being someone that they can call in a moment's notice and say, can you get up the street, or can you get across the street? I need support. So it is something that it hasn't happened in the library in the tenure that you and I have both been here, because it's eerily aligned that we've actually started the same year. But I will say it's happening in other departments. It's something that, it's part of the function that I have. And part of the function of the office that I work in is to be there for our employees and to support them. It's something I take very seriously. I truly do not make light of it. And being successful at challenging situations like this, at transitions, is part of why my role exists in the town. My role is still a relatively new role in the scheme of Middleton's history. And part of what has come to happen is that I provide coverage in gaps such as this with a team of other people. And I truly am not trying to make light of it. I'm very much thinking about our staff and their well-being. And that goes through from frontline all the way to the top.
We don't need a motion on this, correct? This is just informational.
It's informational.
Okay.
Mhm.
Susan, do you have any other comments or questions?
No.
Dawson?
No, almost set.
No, I'm all set, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'd like to.
And I will add, thank you, Jackie, because I wanted to reiterate how much that Jackie herself does so much in this town, some on other boards. I just want to commend you for your diligence and your very hard work. I do. I don't think you get enough.
There you go.
Very nice confidence in you and the staff within the town hall as well as for the staff to handle this great situation. Where are, that was staff on, are we on building updates?
Yes.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Well, training, did you do training?
I would like
Laura?
to schedule time.
Yes, thank you.
Did you do
Staffing
training?
training.
You already did
That's,
training.
yeah, so,
Yeah, we're in the
right, that
building.
was a staff update. I will say, I'm grateful to HR and, town admin, the team that looks like, for working so closely with me to really hear my concerns and, really put a solid plan in place on making this transition as smooth as possible.
Best
So.
of luck.
So on to building updates, just to zip through this director's report, because I know we are late, and I thank you for your time. So I'm working with McInnes Electric on getting a price to upgrade the outdated lighting control system that we have for programming all the lights and zones in this building. It's kind of on the fritz. I'm grateful to him for the work that he's put into it and troubleshooting it and getting it working to the best extent possible. Once an estimate is received, we'll determine on how and if to proceed, but again, thank you to him for working on it. The computer software and equipment for the electronic kiosk that we are going to install in the library's vestibule. All the equipment and software have been purchased, the equipment has been delivered, so it's going to be installed by IT as soon as possible. We're working on, again, with the electrician on getting that plan in place.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
Is the electronic kiosk our whiteboard that we've always wanted? Is that
It'll
what
take
this
place
is?
of the dry erase board.
It
that's down in the
will,
vestibule.
thank you, I wasn't
Yes.
sure. Excellent,
Yes.
very exciting.
So just an update on the logo map that we have in the vestibule, it did receive some damage that,
The what, Loretta?
the logo mat with the library logo
Oh,
down in the vestibule.
Oh, okay.
We did receive a replacement for it. So that is a new mat in the vestibule.
Mhm.
Thank you to the Garden Club for decorating the library for the winter holidays. It always looks so beautiful. I love this time of year. And I wanted to thank Mel's and McInnes Electric for repairing the lampposts. They were not working, the lamppost and the one in the Historical Society parking lot. It was very dark on that side of the library lot. So it took a little while to troubleshoot and figure out where the issue was, but they stuck to it. They were diligent in their efforts, and we now have working lampposts on that side of the parking lot. So thank you to them. Updates on the Pumpkin Festival. Thank you to Bella, Jackie, and
Can I
Aniela.
just ask you if you're
Yes.
done, is that done with the building? I had one question on
Certainly.
buildings, if I could.
Mhm.
The sign, someone asked me about the sign there that says staff only, that you've kind of commandeered 9 spaces there. When did that sign go up?
A year or two ago, I
Yeah.
think.
That sign's been out there,
DPW.
I'm asking Loretta, yeah, so that sign's,
A year or two ago.
because someone said that they thought it was new, and I'm like, I don't recall.
No, it went down one winter. 'Cause of
Oh, maybe that's what
so there was only one or
gone.
two of them
Okay.
there, and then DPW came and re-put them back in, but
Okay.
they've been there about a year or two, I think,
Okay.
at this point now.
Thank you, just because someone asked me that, I said, I don't remember.
Yeah, it's tricky when staff come and go. A lot of people are using it for the liquor store next door, and then staff is taking public spacing closer to the building to park for their
Right,
trips.
but you
So,
can't, there's
it's
no
just-
police take notice, and you can't.
No,
It's
no,
just
we're just
kind of-
asking people to be mindful.
It's
that
kind of
this
a
is-
detriment potentially.
And if a patron parks there because our lot is full, what
That's,
happens?
I mean, if there's staff.
There's no there's no
That's fine.
ticketing ability.
No, it's just, we're asking people to be mindful that these are spots, that
Yeah.
were put.
Do we
there for
have 9
proper use.
people? Because we have 9 spots there.
It's 9, 3
Yeah,
on one and
We have
6 on the other.
17 staff members.
No,
So
on
we
the,
have How many?
that, those.
17
spots.
staff.
Staff member, do we ever have 9 in the building at one time?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So on to programs and services. At some point, we're gonna be reviewing the holiday list for 2025, but I'm gonna come back to it. So Pumpkin Festival, thanking Aniela, Bella, and Jackie for helping out this year. We had 82 visitors to the library booth, including 10 for the story time that Miss Jackie held. We even circulated a few items too on our mobile tablets. So we brought parts of the collection with us and they circulated there. So it was wonderful. And then in the evening, we handed out 400 glow sticks. So thank you to the friends for purchasing those again this year. They're always very popular. And so I handed out the last 2 as I hopped on the hayride for the haunted hayride to be the witch, which it's such a fun opportunity and I'm grateful for it. So another successful pumpkin festival this year.
And we had extra witches this year. We had
We did,
extra witches that were
we
helping
had
to
one or two
offset
extra, yeah.
the witches in the.
Which
in
was
the
really
carriages,
nice.
Gave them a break.
Mhm.
Chance to warm up, it's really nice.
Get some water to save our
Oh,
voice,
warming up, yeah.
save our voices, yeah.
Can I make a little side comment that, and I don't remember who, but some lovely town person came up and complimented Aniela's work. So I just like.
For the pumpkin festival,
For the
or-
pumpkin festival and also for something right here in the building.
wonderful.
And so I would really like to put that on the record that Aniela has
She has
received
fantastic. customer service.
recognition for her good work.
Very sweet.
I love it when people I have no idea who they are come up and say wonderful things about. Wonderful.
Thank you for passing that on. I will certainly mention that to her. So the Veterans Day ceremony was held here on the lawn in front of the memorial. It was very well attended this year. Thank you to Nathan, our VSO, for organizing the event. And the DPW for getting our library grounds so beautiful for the ceremony. As Amy said, we had the turkey trot again this year. I was happy to participate. It was a huge success. Record number of attendees again, though I think many of them stayed home. The weather was rain in the forecast, though the rain did hold out for the run, the entirety of it, so. It was,
Except for
it
the
was a
slow
good day.
runners.
It was a good day. I walked it and I
Oh,
was
did
one of
you?
the last people to cross that finish line and I was still trying, so. Thank you to the organizers for partnering with the library. And it's, I hope we can do it again next year. It's an honor. Annie already talked about the pop-up book sale, that actually, did you mention that it was record sales too for our pop-up book? Okay, perfect.
Mention that, but you're right.
Yeah, it was a record high number for sales. We raised over $220 for the Friends. So I want to thank everyone that came and participated, and helped support the Friends of the Flint. A big thank you to Paige for setting it all up and getting it going. Because it was such a huge success.
Very efficient. Her cleanup was, she knew exactly what went where, and we were.
Yeah.
Short work of it.
I'll talk about the Winter Festival that was this past Saturday next month in December updates, but a December event that I do want to highlight here is the Wreaths Across America. Is this Saturday at noon at Oakdale Cemetery. I will be there. I hope to see all of you there. Again, noon at Oakdale Cemetery.
They still looking for wreaths? Last time I saw they were short by 30. or
Believe
something.
they're all set now.
Got 'em all, okay.
Are they all set now?
I think we've moved into the wreaths for next year, so I think they'll still appreciate your donation.
I haven't done it yet.
For this year, yeah. I think they-
It's this Saturday at noon.
Correct, at Oakdale Cemetery. I'll check on the wreaths, so confirm. So if we could just take a look at the 2025 list of holidays.
Is there any
Yeah,
difference?
There's no difference from 2024. The newest one added onto it was the Juneteenth, but that was,
Last year too.
yeah, correct. And also the Friday after Thanksgiving, town approved was this year, so again, 2025, it's on there as well, but other than that, there's no change.
I have a comment. I know it's not gonna change anything, but I don't support closing the library on Mother's Day and Father's Day. One day in a month, it makes extra days in those months. We're closed so many Mondays. I don't like to see us, we're open on a Sunday. I don't like to see us closed on a Sunday. I think Mother's Day is a day when fathers love to bring their kids to the library and vice versa. I'd like to see us stay open on Mother's Day and Father's Day.
I will say I like to give that day to the staff to be with their mothers, and many of them are mothers themselves, so. I don't like asking my staff to work on Mother's Day.
Yeah, but that's a taxpayer issue, we pay them, so.
I understand, we are open those following Mondays, it's not that we're closed a Monday after a Sunday closure. So,
I'm just,
It's a four.
as I said, I know it's not going to change what this vote will be today, but I just felt it was important. I felt this way for a long time and I've watched year after year and I just don't feel those are federal or state holidays and we really follow a federal and state calendar.
Noted.
Do we have to make a motion? For that?
All right. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept the holidays, I think you say holidays, like the, right, Loretta, isn't
The
it?
habit.
Or I should say the 2025 calendar.
Second,
Second,
any, all in favor?
Um,
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously, Stephanie.
Thank you very much.
Sir, we are, imagine that, moving on to the next date for regular trustees is, January 13th, 7 P.M.
And we will be in a meeting room.
That's good.
Yes.
I might just add to that, that if, people's schedules free up, that we could start meeting earlier in the evening, that would be awesome. But, we did, I know, but if anybody's,
If it changes.
if it changes, let us know, because, it'd be good. So otherwise, any other comments, conversation, or move to adjourn the meeting at, 9, oh yes, I'm sorry. So move to adjourn, second. Oh, Susan seconded, all in favor?
Bye.
Any opposed? Any? Meeting is adjourned at 9:27. Stephanie, thank you for your,
Thank you. Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas, Stephanie. Have a good
Same to
holiday.
you. Thank you.